Gloria H. Snyder Stadium, just north of downtown Dallas. Week 2 is upon us as the Parish Panthers return home. For more Taps action on Game On Sports, alongside Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans as the Parish Panthers return to face the Austin LBJ Jaguars. Both teams 1-0 on the 2021 campaign. Heckma, last week, Parish taking down a very good Bel Air Episcopal team in Houston. They come back from their road trip with a 20-point victory, and really a lot of that defense was due to the pass rush that they had.
Yeah, it's all Trey Williams, man. Trey Williams had a phenomenal game, and when we talked with Coach Novikov, he said that specifically on how dominant he was last Saturday in Bel Air. And so they're going to depend heavily on him because he knows that this Jaguars offense is going to throw the ball around a bit.
And you saw a couple guys really stand out. Trey Williams was one of them. He had a phenomenal performance with 2 sacks, a couple of tackles for loss, and he ended up toward the team lead in tackles. And this is a guy coming out of the second level that also can go up to the line of scrimmage as well. Just
a dominating performance. But you talk about the guys that are around him as well. Keegan Anderson also had a great game. But Jalen Hall on the defensive line, man, the big guy is a plugger on the outside there and just does a great job of stopping the run. They know that they're going to have to take away some things today to slow down this Jaguars offense.
We've got a little bit till kickoff between the Panthers and the Jaguars. Let's go back and take a look at that 34-14 win that the Parish Panthers had last week against Episcopal.
Let's roll. It's your roll. I'm about to take you there. I'm lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better brace yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger. I was born to run. I was built to last. I was made for speed, cause I was born fast. Born to run, born to ride. Keep on flying till my hands touch the sky. Born to be wild and free. Keep on growing, yeah, there's no stopping me. I was born for this. The gate like a bucking bull. Got my horns up, I'm unstoppable. Got you spin around, it's a do-si-do. Hold on tight like a rodeo. If you wanna get down, get yourself elevated up off the ground. Then come along with me to the nitty and the gritty of the country. I was cut from steel. I was built for grit. I was made to fly. Cause I was born for this, yeah. Born to roll, born to ride. Keep on flying till my hands touch the sky. Born to be wild and free. Keep on going, yeah, there's no stopping me. I was born for this. I was born for this. Work harder, built tough, made stronger. Play hard, work harder. I built tough to go longer. I was cut from steel. I was built for grit. I was made to fly. Cause I was born for this. Yeah. Keep on flying till my hands touch the sky.
What a win it was last week for Parish over Bel Air, and that was a matchup going into it, Heckma, where you were really excited to see some of the youth from the Panthers, of course, having to replace a all-world talent quite like Preston Stone, who ends up going down the street to SMU with a freshman quarterback named Sawyer Anderson. He came out, and Coach Novikov, very impressed, said, hey, he had one of the better games you would expect out of a true freshman.
Well, better games that you would expect out of a true freshman that has the weight of the world on his shoulders. And knowing the who he's replacing here at Parish Episcopal, again, he came in last week at Bel Air and really had a great performance and kind of set Coach Novikov's mind at ease about the future here at Parish.
Yeah, he was 15 of 27 passing last week, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, did not throw an interception, but still room to grow for Anderson, and I think that's one of the most exciting parts about having a young quarterback is that was the floor. Now when do we start seeing the ceiling?
Yeah, well, what you want to do is just have him, put him in a position to where he can play within himself, but it doesn't hurt either to have a running back like Andrew Paul to get behind. Those are some of the things that happened with last week that just was completely complimentary for the Panthers on offense and in defense, but it was the running game that kept them grounded.
Well, and he was definitely utilized on the ground last week, and you talk about a bell cow and a workload that he was given. 27 carries, ended up with a $127 on the ground, so not necessarily the big-time production you would think out of 27 carries, but Coach Novikov said on a couple of different occasions that he was very close to popping the big one.
Yeah, slow and methodical. That's what you want to do. And think about this, man. The Panthers are a team that really Coach Novikov wants to throw it all over the yard, right? But when you have a running back like Andrew Paul, it just allows you not to make those miscues. But, again, he was right on the cusp of breaking that big run tonight. I look for him to do it.
You got to have a blend of youth and the experience as well to have a successful football program. Coach Novikov and this Parish Panthers organization knows that from a fundamental level. Now, on the other side, you look at this LBJ Jaguars team and a top 5 team at the 4A Division I level coming in at 1-0. They themselves had a statement win last week over Manor where they went up 28-7. They put up 28 unanswered points in that ball game after giving up the opening score. LBJ has some athletes that are going to find a way to make things tough on the Panthers.
Yeah, I love the conversation that we had with Coach Jamal Fenner and just everything that he talked about as far as solidifying this team in Austin LBJ. He knows that this is going to be a tough test for his squad, so he comes in here knowing that he's going to have to get behind his horses, and one of those being Cedric Alexander, his running back. He called him All Day 28. And so anytime you got a guy by the name of All Day, you know who they're going to be relying on.
Oh, no doubt about it. Of course, visions of Adrian Peterson start flashing through your head and start finding their way into the mind. However, Cedric Alexander, not necessarily Adrian Peterson by any stretch of the imagination, but having a guy like that just allows you to play more freely as a head coach. And you specifically were one of those guys back in your time. How big of an impact can he have tonight in a game and a test, much like the Parish Panthers?
You know, look, for these guys, and he said it specifically, just staying true to who we are, not trying to do anything special, just solidifying that part of who we are, our identity tonight, take what they give us, and that's why athletes like Cedric Alexander, but also Keelan Rogers, the wide receiver, number 13, Fatu Mukuba, as another guy, the sophomore, who also has a brother that is a big-time D1 star. And so these guys, they're star-studded as well, and so it's going to be a good matchup athletically.
You mentioned some of the key losses for the Jaguars this past offseason. You mentioned Mukuba going to Clemson, Brendan Jones, Columbia, Latrell McCutcheon went to Oklahoma just up the road in Norman. They have had talent in and out, and Coach Fenner talking about having to reload that talent a little bit this year, but they feel really good about what they have in their senior quarterback, Oscar Gordon, who's going to test this Panthers secondary.
Man, Oscar Gordon set the 7-on-7 circuit on fire in 4A, and everyone was talking about the LBJ Jaguars. And so the skill position for these guys is absolutely incredible, and they're going to have – Trey Williams going to have his hands full because he's going to have to get Oscar on the ground.
We are still about 5 minutes or so until kickoff as Parish starts inching their way to the field as they'll take the blue turf for the first time in 2021, and it is certainly exciting to have the Panthers back in town. If you had one guy to watch today for the Panthers on either side of the football, who would it be, Heckma Harrison?
I'm going to go defense, and Daniel Demery, the free safety, the all-world free safety, 4-star athlete and being recruited by some of the top schools in the nation. And so tonight, because of what we were talking about as far as what LBJ is going to present from a skill position standpoint, Daniel Demery is going to have his hands full, and he is a rock star. So I would look for him to make some plays.
6'1", 185 pounds, the junior 4-star recruit who's the number 19 linebacker in the class of 2023, recruited by the likes of Baylor and Texas A&M, North Texas thrown into that mix as well, over guys like USC and stuff. We'll throw North Texas in there. Just sprinkling it.
You're a homer to the bone, man.
Yes, maybe so. But tonight we are definitely going to put some homer spotlight on the Parish Panthers. And 10-1 a year ago, defending state champions at Division I level for back-to-back years, and big-time wins last year. Now 3 state titles during Coach Novikov's tenure. How does this team, you've seen them once already, how do they compare to some of the ones you've seen in the past?
They're young. I mean, and really it would be unfair to judge them based off of their performance in Bel Air, which was dominating. But, again, you want to see them function under pressure. You know that they're going to have some tough games on the schedule, and it's going to start tonight. So I think we can have a fairer assessment of this team after the performance tonight.
And we thought maybe that going into last week, and Parish kind of checked all the boxes along the way.
Made it look easy.
Definitely made it look easy against Bel Air, who you thought was going to be an early test. Austin LBJ is thought to be a test much like that. And you mentioned the schedule coming up. I mean, you're at Malakoff next week, and then not a whole lot of time before you start getting into TAPS action against Jason Witten and his Liberty Christian Ball Club 2 weeks from today. So you get right into the thick of things pretty quickly in the Texas high school football schedule, and games like this are going to help you build that program, especially when there's so much youth.
Yeah, when you see most high schools, and we talk to so many coaches that talk about these first games in their seasons and just using it as a litmus test for where their squad is. And so they want to play that competition. They want to test these guys to see exactly what it's going to look like once they get to district play.
Which unit for Parish do you feel like is going to be tested the most tonight by Austin LBJ, especially with the athletes that they have on that side of the football?
I'm going to say offensively, and the reason why I say offensively is because Sawyer Anderson is a freshman still. And so anytime you have a defense that can manufacture pressure, they're going to try and come after him. So this is going to be another test for the freshman.
Parish wearing the all-red uniforms with the white domes. It'll be all white with the purple numbers and the purple helmets for the Jaguars, as we have got a couple more minutes until action here from Gloria H. Schneider Stadium as the Panthers get ready to take the field for the first time in front of a home crowd. How nice is it to have Texas high school football back in front of full crowds and the atmosphere that Friday night brings?
Kyle, it is really cool. And you know what's even cooler? This blue turf, man. This is my first time actually seeing turf like this, and this is really cool, even though it's hot today.
It is very hot, mid-90s with the humidity up in the 70s at the moment. So we will see each of these student-athletes tested as the Panthers take the field at home for the first time in 2021. Big-time test on the way for the Panthers. We're glad you're with us here on Game On Sports. Alongside Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans. Jeremy Beadling down on the sideline. We'll hear from him prior to kickoff as we get set for the Panthers and the Jaguars. We'll also keep you updated throughout this ball game and scores across the area. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Game On Sports as well. You can follow them on Twitter at Game On Sports Pro and on Facebook. You can like the Facebook page along with Friday Night Stars as well. Friday_stars on Facebook and Instagram and as well as Twitter.
It's neat. LBJ has purple smoke.
They do have the purple smoke carried by some of their seniors. How about that? It's pretty intimidating. You see the smoke creeping across the 50-yard line, working its way to the near sideline.
I like it.
It's a bit ominous.
They brought their own smoke.
They did. Let's see if they have the smoke on the field as well.
Let's go.
Jaguars 1-0 with their win over Manor last week. LBJ 9-3 a year ago, a state semifinalist. They fell to Lindale 31-28, and that was a game that the Jaguars lost after leading 28-7 at halftime. They were 2 quarters away from making their way to a state finals appearance at AT&T Stadium at the 4A Division I level and came up short in the second half. We'll see what they have for the Panthers, but for now, let's step aside for the playing of our national anthem.
Football fans, please rise and able and kindly remove your hats for our prayer. Our prayer this evening is given by Mother Alina.
Almighty God, we are grateful for recreation and friendly competition tonight. We thank you for the lives and talents of all the students playing for Parish and for LBJ tonight. As these athletes strive for victory, we pray they may compete with true sportsmanship, integrity, and honor. Win or lose, inspire these athletes to greatness as they wisely use strength and skill to do their part for their teams. Protect them from all injury, God, and guide all of us home safely tonight. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
And now, please remain standing as we honor our brave servicemen and women throughout the world. And we remember that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Our colors are presented by members of the Parish Episcopal Pack 59, Cub Scouts Bear Den, and Lion Den. Tonight's color guard, Benjamin Cox carrying the Pack 59 flag. Ethan Flatto carrying the flag of the great state of Texas. Pierce Crawford carrying the flag of the United States of America. Accompanying the guards are Scouts Caden Flieger and Liam Alpert. Our national anthem is performed by the United States Air Force Band.
Going to go down to Jeremy Beedling on the sideline. Jeremy.
Hey, Kyle. Now, the last time that your Parish Panthers were on this field, Preston Stone was the quarterback, 4-star, who's now at SMU. But don't you worry, the torch is being passed to Sawyer Anderson, freshman quarterback. And I know what you're saying, freshman quarterback, but I don't want you to worry too much. Coach Novikov told us before the game that Anderson is actually further along in the development process than Preston Stone was his freshman year. Should make for some exciting football tonight and the rest of the season. Back to you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, and a fantastic point there about the way that Coach Novikov really feels about Sawyer Anderson. He has the utmost confidence, even in a freshman, to take over the reins of a guy like Preston Stone and be able to handle this offense with ease.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. He gave him full reign and gave him the opportunity to stretch the field. And so he's going to do the same thing today. But, again, like I pointed out, man, all of that was set up by Andrew Paul and his running. So if they can get this running game going and stay balanced, then that definitely will give Sawyer Anderson plenty of opportunity to throw the ball.
Riggins, along with Washington and Rogers, back to return the kick. As we are just about ready to get underway, it's game 2 of the year for the Parish Panthers, week 2 of the Texas high school football season. As we are underway, kick takes a hefty bounce at about the 3-yard line. It's picked up by Rogers, who now reverses to the near side, and he is slung out of bounds at the 11-yard line. Nowhere to go for Rogers.
What a weird kickoff. It kind of settled in the air for a long time, and it just dropped flat and bounced.
Dylan Davis was on the tackle, and you're right. I think Rogers thought that was destined for the end zone, destined for a touchback, and instead it just cratered in at about the 3-yard line, and Rogers had no choice but to pick up that football.
Kind of like me on the golf course when I drop it.
You got to get your divot tool out. I don't think you've ever hit a shot that good on the golf course.
Come on, man. Let me get away with it at least on the broadcast.
I cannot let you lie to these good people. Oscar Gordon out at quarterback. 10 of 17 last week with 200 yards even and 3 touchdowns in the win against the Manor Mustangs, and he'll work out of the triple option on the opening play. There's Cedric Alexander, one of the highlighted players for Coach Finner's ball club, and he gets the opening carry and picks up a chunk of about 6.
Yeah, option quarterback, you have to stay disciplined, especially from a contained standpoint, and Parish did a good job of it, although, again, giving up 7 yards.
You're going to see that on multiple occasions here. You see it again. This time it's Kyron Miller who gets the carry, but it is an easy tackle on the second level as Noah Billings comes in for the stop, and it brings up 3rd down and 3.
Yeah, that's a good job by Billings, coming up and sealing.
Handoff to Alexander. Explodes forward, carries the pile past the 1st down marker, and it does move the chains. Parish was there defensively, but once again, the triple option is going to give fits to defenses, especially early on in games. They have to adjust. This ball is put on the blue turf, picked up off the carpet by Alexander, but a massive loss on 1st down is going to put the Jags behind the chains.
Yeah, it really is, and it's unfortunate, but definitely fortunate for the Panthers that snap was a little high.
Now 2nd down and what we'll call 20. After 1 first down, backed up behind the initial line of scrimmage. Another high snap. Gordon able to get a mitt on it and somehow gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe picks up half a yard, and it is 3rd and a mile for the Jaguars.
Yeah, that's Trey Williams coming down from his linebacker position to get that tackle. So I'm telling you, 88 is the number you need to keep your eyes on, man, because this guy had a dominating performance last week.
2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. We'll see what he can bring off the edge. He's going to go to the far side of the formation to set up here. 3rd down and 20 on the way. 2 receivers to the top of the formation for LBJ. Pressure off the edge. Lets this one fly downfield. It's batted around and incomplete. Trying to find a man downfield in Makuba, and it is jarred free in coverage by a couple of Panthers.
Yeah, Walker Anderson does a great job of getting back in coverage. They're just trying to catch him on an easy seam route, and Makuba, it hits him in the hands, but again, he has to go up for it and not able to come down with that pass, but great defense by the Panthers.
So the punt formation out there for LBJ on 4th down and 20, so an early stop for Parish. The defense at least passing the first test as Demery's back to receive the punt. Short kick, and it's upended at about the 36-yard line. Doesn't have a whole lot of room to work, but fantastic field position for Sawyer Anderson and this Parish offense to take over at about the 35-yard line.
Yeah, Taj James, the center for the Jaguars is getting an earful right now for those errant snaps, but definitely that fumble was definitely the reason why the Jaguars couldn't go any further. That whole drive just dried out.
That's a drive killer. You see that on multiple occasions, especially with a young team. Shooting themselves in the foot early, they'll be back, and they will certainly have their offensive success in this ball game.
Yeah, that's on every level. When you do that, that'll drive killer.
Anderson letting it fly early. Demery sees it go off the mitts, incomplete. Parish coming out, wasting no time trying to get the passing game going. 4 wide receivers Just the one tailback and Andrew Paul in the backfield.
That was exactly what I was going to say. I mean, Coach Novikov, so much for being conservative in that open. He comes right out and fires.
Wants to get it into the hands of Demery early to try and take advantage of the early defensive stop that his defense gives. They'll have one tight end in the formation, 3 wide receivers, and Paul off the right hip of Alexander. Second down, it's a give to Paul. Breaks one tackle, fumbles the football, but he lands right back up on top of it as that ball was jarred free by Jaden Rawls, but luckily Paul just able to land on it.
Yeah, Jaden Rawls, the coach's son, comes up and closes on that quickly, man, but fortunately for the Panthers, able to fall down on that fumble.
So back behind the chains go the Parish offense. They'll have 3 wideouts here on 3rd down and 16. Need to get to the 25-yard line as Anderson checks at the line of scrimmage and looks to the near side. Hill and Demery to the near side of the formation. Anderson looks that way, under pressure, and he's going to be yanked down for a sack behind the line of scrimmage as Kyron Miller, the senior, gets in there for a big-time sack, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, Kyron Miller comes down on that edge, and he closes really fast. One thing about a guy that size that can close that fast, that is a headache for a quarterback.
And he was so quick. Both Miller and Caleb Brown were in the backfield almost immediately. There was nowhere for Anderson to go. Trying to flip the field position. A good lofted kick all the way down to the 16-yard line, and Demery gets there in coverage. Big-time takedown at the 15-yard line as a return for -1 by Jabrian Riggins. And a fantastic special teams play from the 4-star recruit.
Oh, that's big time right there from the gunner position, man, and that was a great punt as well, but way to get him on the ground.
That is just what collegiate coaches love to see.
Sir.
Special teams, defense, offense, doesn't matter. He plays all 3, and he's going to give you your all no matter what unit he's playing for. He'll take a breather as he does work his way to the near sideline, and we'll see the Jaguars offense for the second time tonight. Went with the triple option on every down prior to going backwards on the fumble. Parish shows blitz off the edge. They get it out quick to the far sideline as Trent Leary reels it in, and he gets out to about the 18-yard line. Gain of 2.5 on 1st down.
Yeah, Trent Leary is another name you better watch out for because he is so good in space. The senior one, this is one of those slot backs again. Could play running back as well, but really quick.
They fake the handoff and a quick completion to Makuba. Far side, breaks a tackle, tries to go back in, and the ball's on the ground. It's picked up by the Panthers. First turnover forced, and Seth Scott hops on the football. Davis was the one that poked it out.
Yeah, Makuba trying to make an extra move on his sideline and able to get that ball poked out. That's a good break for the Panthers defense.
And just like that, they get the ball back. Just when the Jags started moving the football, and it's a collective sigh of relief from the Parish defense as they make the big play when they needed it.
It's been on 2 consecutive drives now for the Jaguars that they've shot themselves in the foot, either with penalties, fumbles, or fumbles.
Yeah, the fumbles really the big one so far. You can circle both of those and chalk up both of the inaccurate drives to those. Quick completion to Youngblood near side. He is upended very quickly as Gilliam was there. But it's a gain of about 5.5 on the play.
I'll tell you what, man, Blake Youngblood, that's a guy that I should have definitely talked about in the pregame because he's tough. I mean, he runs all of your slant routes, all of those routes that are going to get you hit immediately. He's not scared to take those licks, and he does all the dirty work for his quarterback.
Yeah, 6 receptions, 63 yards, and a touchdown against Bel Air last week. He is one of those leaders on offense for the Panthers. Quick drop for Anderson. Lets this fly near side, looking down the sideline for Nathaniel Hill. And the Navy commit just couldn't get there in time as it flies out of bounds. 3rd down on the way.
Kyle, I want to keep your eyes on this Panthers offensive line. These guys, Sam Lou, man, they are road grader type offensive linemen. You will see a bunch of pancakes out there today.
Desalome's out there as well, been looked at by SMU. No offers just yet, but they're coming for the senior. A lot of guys that are going to play at the next level in that front five for Parish, and they need to pave the way for about 5 yards here to move the chains and keep drive number 2 of this first quarter alive. Anderson in the shotgun. Paul off his right hip. They hand it to Paul. He explodes forward, breaks a tackle and another inside the 15-yard line, and he hops up after a first down gain and so much more.
But he is so tough in that A gap, man. No lovey-dovey with Andrew Paul. He is trying to look for that contact and run over people.
6 foot, 212 pounds, and stout. Fumbled snap. Anderson gets on it, and he takes a lick right at the end of that play. Miller landed right on top of Anderson. Looks to be okay, but it's only the second time, already the second time, I should say, that the ball has been put on the turf by this Parish offense.
Well, he gets to live out his growing pains in real time, so we're just seeing a few of those. Coach Novakoff has just got to pick his poison with his freshman quarterback.
2nd and 12. Still plenty so in striking distance. Might get a free play here as there was blitz shown off the edge. No flag, and they lopped it up to Demery.
There was no flag.
I don't know how there wasn't a flag, as it looked like both of the linebackers from the Jaguars, Brown and McCutcheon, started blitzing through the A and B gaps and didn't retreat back in time.
Maybe we're too far away from the action.
Maybe so. Maybe so. They were right on top of it, and it does bring up 3rd and a dozen with 6:12 left in the first quarter. Still no score here from Schneider Stadium. 3 receivers all to the far side of the formation. Play action. Anderson now breaks back to his left. Doesn't have a man. Has to retreat as the ref gets taken out. Anderson lofts it to the end zone, but well out of bounds was was Hill. And it is 4th down and 12. Valiant effort by Anderson, maybe more of a valiant effort from our official.
Yeah, the official took that one. He took that one, so good to see him up.
4th down, 12.
It looks like 4th down and 12. Coach Novakov's going to elect to go with it here with a true freshman quarterback. Paul to the left hip. They go to the same formation as they did a moment ago. 3 receivers wide. Only man to the bottom of the formation is Nathaniel Hill.
Yeah, he loves this trips formation, spreads them out really well. As you could tell, it's all man on the right side.
4th and 12 from inside the 20. Lofted up to the end zone. It's Youngblood. Touchdown Panthers. Goes over his man to reel that one in.
Just a go route for Youngblood. He goes up and get it. Like I said, once they go to that trips formation, they know that they're going to be man-to-man, and you're going to take that matchup with Youngblood.
He may only be 6 foot, but he plays much bigger than that.
Oh, he went up and got that.
How about the vertical from the senior to climb the ladder and pick that one up off the top shelf? 2nd touchdown of the 2021 campaign, and the Parish Panthers take the early lead 7-0 here at Gloria H. Schneider Stadium. And Heckma, that was the drive you wanted to see. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't clean, but you converted on 4th down and 12 when you needed it the most.
Well, good teams capitalize on mistakes, and so that's what they did. Once they recovered that fumble, and they were definitely in favorable field position, just being slow, methodical, and going for it on 4th down. That's quite a gamble by Coach Novakoff, and it pays dividends for him because Blake Youngblood goes up and gets it and gets a score for the Panthers. This is a point right now for this Panthers team. If they can just stay true to who they are, continue to play great defense the way that they have, they can make this game really easy.
Just a drive of 36 yards after the fumble was recovered by the Parish defense, and Seth Scott, who will get back out there. Short kick reeled in by Alexander at the 10-yard line. Shakes a couple tackles, but he does get right out to about the 17-yard line. Saw some physicality in the return game there from the Jaguars, who really have left a lot out on the table offensively. This is supposed to be a group that is led by the senior quarterback, that is clean, crisp, and calculated, and so far has been everything but.
Yeah, sometimes when you travel a distance, man, your team can get a little discombobulated. Those first 2 drives, you saw that with the high snaps and the fumbles, 2 fumbles on drive so far for the Jaguars. They have to settle in if they want to be competitive in this game.
Just 19 yards so far for LBJ. And that ball falls incomplete far side. Second down on the way. Only 1 rushing yard at the moment, as that triple option has not worked for the Jags here in this first quarter. There's a handoff to Alexander. Straight handoff this time, and he picks up about 3.
Yeah, Keegan Addison. Keegan Addison. I messed his name up last week. I was so mad at myself about that, and I'll do it again today, but does a really good job from his linebacker position. What a shot there from Cooper Malin.
Yeah, Malin comes forward and upends Gordon after a gain of 1, and just like that, a blink of an eye. We're not even 30 seconds into this drive, and it's already 4th down. That's an up-tempo attack from LBJ, and just all the answers so far for the Parish defense. Can they get off the field, as it looks like Coach Finner wants to go for it, and they're going to back up Gordon here. He's probably going to boot this away. High snap, and it's going to go all the way inside the 5-yard line, back to the goal line, and Gordon just has no choice but to eat up the lost yardage. Gets it back to the 4-yard line, but there is a flag. I think this is going to be against the Jaguars, and the Panthers are going to have it to start a drive inside the 5.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do anything about that. Right now, the Jaguars are just shooting themselves in the foot. Definitely self-inflicted, and the Panthers are going to capitalize on it. This is a penalty that's going to bring it down to the 1-yard line.
Our head referee, Mike Drybread.
Ball start against the Jaguars.
And there's the call that'll keep it at the 4-yard line. So here we go for what could be the shortest drive of the Parish season so far, and a chance to go up by 2 scores in the first quarter.
So I look for him to put this ball in the navel of Andrew Paul.
You can really just let him go at it 4 times.
Well, you have the offensive line to do it.
Oh, absolutely. There's the first one. Paul, and that's all it's going to take. Oh, he dropped the football, and he picks it back up, and it goes into the end zone. Oh, my goodness. It took a little bit of time and did not come without a scare, but it's 13-0 Parish.
A little bit of a gasp here in Panther Stadium.
Goodness gracious. How about that as we get the second touchdown of the day? First one was 4th and 12. The second one was a fumble down at the bottom. And now it is 14-0 Parish over LBJ. And let's go ahead and go down to the sideline where Jeremy Beedling has something for us. Jeremy. This Jaguars offense, and so far Parish has really neutralized him and everyone else on that Jaguars offense.
And that's just a testament to the kind of defense that they play, the kind of pressure that they've been getting up front. Keegan Addison and also Trey Williams is just nullifying that triple option running game that they have.
4:39 left in the first quarter. Still a lot of time for LBJ to get right back in the thick of this thing. But you really have to negate a lot of the mistakes that Coach Finner's ball club has had early on, and it hasn't necessarily been without mistakes from the Parish side either. I mean, Parish can certainly clean up things as well, and we talked about that in the open. Two very young football teams trying to find their way. 1st and 10 from the 25 after the touchback. They'll go with the late pitch and has some running space near side as Kyron Miller works his way past the 45-yard line. Taken down emphatically by Keegan Addison, but it is a first down and so much more. That's the longest play from scrimmage for the Jaguars today.
Well, I usually say that there's cheese on the broccoli, but since the turf is blue, I'm going to have to come up with something different because there was a flag on that play. I think he's going to back them up. It's unfortunate, but it's just a part of the narrative that's been happening for the Jaguars in this first quarter.
Yeah, just keep it coming. When it rains, it pours so far for LBJ. And they're going to put this in about the 20-yard line, so the spot of the foul was right at the 30. And it is 10 yards from the spot of that foul as Oscar Gordon, the senior quarterback, steps back in. First down at 15. He elects to give it to Alexander here, and another flag will fly. You would think this is in the spot of a hold, Heckma.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean, you could see that hold from up here, and it's obvious. And I know that the Jaguars are trying to get some things going, but right now, Darrell Small got caught holding.
And they're going to back this one up another 10 yards. We just got the call from our head referee, but they have yet to move the football just yet. Now we're pointing separate directions on the sideline. Certainly confusion between Parish and the officials.
Yeah, it looks like nothing happening. A whole lot of conversations going on.
4:22 left here in the first quarter. Parish with an early 14-0 lead off the strength of a 14-yard touchdown pass to Blake Youngblood, and then a 4-yard touchdown run for Andrew Paul. Paul with his 4th touchdown of the year already, and Youngblood with his 2nd. And that is what has given the Panthers an early lead in week 2.
Yeah, just trying to figure out what's going on here. What could have possibly happened?
Our officials crew from the Dallas football chapter. And they're going to call a personal foul and a face mask on the Panthers. So a very late penalty following what was the holding. And that's going to bring an automatic first down and almost where the Jaguars were a couple moments ago. That's a huge penalty.
That really is, and they get the first down. So it go from being pinned down to getting the first down.
And that was a false start on everyone. The refs was not set yet, so that was a negated play, or else Miller might have been running for a little bit.
Right, these referees, they got to get a control over this game, man. We've had some really squirrely things happen here.
I said it last week in one of our broadcasts, but it was week 1 for everybody. It's still week 2 for everybody.
Okay.
Trying to get back in the groove. We're going to see what LBJ has in their 2nd week of action. Miller again on the carry. He goes nowhere. Immediately in the backfield again is that man, Trey Williams, his 3rd tackle for loss already this season.
That's what he does so well, man. Setting that edge. He's tough, man. It's just really a part of his game. They have him listed at 6'2", 190 pounds, but he plays so much bigger than that.
Had a dominant performance last week, and he's trying to replicate that today. Alexander off the left hash mark, now breaks to the outside, tries to get a block in front of him, tripped up by his own man, but he's into Parish territory down to the 40-yard line, as now the run game from the Jags has started to catch some steam.
I tell you what, that block by number 2, Makuba, that was a really good block on the outside.
See if they can do it again. It's Miller this time. Miller up the middle. He bounds his way for an 8-yard gain, close to the first down marker. And if he would have broken one more tackle, it was him and one other man in between him and the goal line. Up-tempo again. This time it's Alexander who has plenty of room for the first down and then finally settles in at about the 20-yard line. The best drive we've seen so far from Austin LBJ.
Yeah, one of the things that you see from LBJ is that they've corrected some of their blocking assignments, and every time you see these guys get these big yards, it's because of the blocking up front.
4 of the 5 offensive linemen starting for LBJ are seniors. So no surprise that they're able to make some adjustments even as early as this first quarter. From the 20-yard line, first trip to the red zone for LBJ and the Jags. We'll see what the Parish defense has in store with their backs against the wall. Gordon hands off to Miller, and it has been a dual backfield attack all game long so far. Alexander Miller.
Yeah, they look so much better when they can snap the ball, right? They can get into their offense now.
And miscommunication. I don't know who ended up with that football. I think it was Alexander who was the first to hit the turf. Hall Wright got in there quickly and broke that play up before it could get started. And here's a big third down on the way for the Parish defense.
Yeah, Hall Anderson just does a great job on that last play. But, yeah, you're definitely right. But for the Jaguars, I'm sure this is 4-down territory.
Got 2 receivers to the near side. They need points, down by 14 with 2:17 left in the first. 3-step drop. Gordon pressured from behind, lets it fly back in the end zone. 2 men there, but they cannot converge quick enough on the lofted football and underneath the goalpost. That one falls harmlessly to the turf. 4th down and 9.
Oscar Gordon, he's feeling that pressure, Kyle, coming down on him. He wants to be patient so that he could find Trent Leary, but not able to just stand in there long enough to deliver that pass because of the pressure coming in.
You mentioned it, 4th down territory for LBJ even this early in the contest. The pressure has been relentless from the front 7 of Parish. Can the Panthers get in there and force another arid pass? Gordon in the backfield, Alexander and Miller to both sides. Gordon, near side, has a man, throws it underneath, and it's incomplete. Couldn't get it to Trent Leary in time, and the seniors cannot connect. It's a turnover on down.
Gordon had a man. He just missed him. He wanted to throw it out in a space that only his receiver could get to it, but he ended up throwing it at his feet.
So with 1:58 left here in the first quarter, Parish will take over at their own 19-yard line, up by 14. And plenty of time to add to this lead. This is the worst field position that the Panthers have had to deal with. They've started on the opposite side of the 50 in each of their first 2 drives of the ball game. At least the ones that they've scored on. They've had 3 drives, this being 4. Anderson wastes no time trying to find a man downfield, and he does. Nathaniel Hill past the 50. Didn't take him long to get back into Jags territory.
Nathaniel Hill, 6'3", 205 pounds. This kid is so smooth. He just runs a simple go route, but Sawyer Anderson drops a dime on him.
That was a fantastic throw. That is not a true freshman throw, but oh man, Sawyer Anderson certainly made it, and a timeout called by LBJ with 1:31 left in the first. And this is my first opportunity to see Sawyer Anderson. You, of course, got to see him last week down in Houston.
What do you think about him?
He lives up to the expectations already. I mean, we are not even a quarter into this football game, and I can already see exactly what Coach Novikov sees in this young man, what you were telling me about all week long. I couldn't get you off the phone talking about Sawyer Anderson.
Well, you know, look, we already knew that the elephant in the room was Preston Stone, and how was he going to replace Preston Stone's production? I go to Bel Air, and I see this guy just dropping dimes, not looking like a freshman, looking well beyond his years, and so staying cool, calm, and collected. I'm just glad that he didn't make a liar out of me. You see that pass he makes on the go route? That was so special. Touch and decision-making, I think, is going to be one of his strong suits.
And I'm really impressed by this wide receiver group as well from the Panthers. They're already early in this game. Blake Youngblood, Nathaniel Hill. You mentioned smooth. I mean, as silk, my friend. Committed to Navy, and for good reason. First down and 10 following the timeout. Anderson now dumps it into the backfield. where Cedric Mays is oh so dangerous in the flats, and that ball's put on the turf, and the Jaguars are going to recover it at the 30-yard line. The first time that Mays gets a snap today, trying to fill the shoes in a similar role that Benson had in 2020. And a very talented back, and he just could not hold on to the rock.
Yeah, Cedric Mays, a little guy, man. He's like that little scat back that gets in behind these big guys. But one of the things that he cannot do for Coach Dan Novakoff, and that's fumble the ball.
Puts it on the turf at the 31-yard line, and that's where the Jags will take over. They had a drive going last time.
Yeah.
And they'll look to finish things out. This Parish defense has been stout so far. They have forced a couple fumbles of their own right, recovered one. Let's see what they bring off the edge. Oscar Gordon takes it himself, and he takes a lick in the second level as Keegan Addison comes flying across.
Addison just gives him a little sugar, lowering that shoulder, and my goodness, it's a wallop on Gordon.
If you're going to call that sugar, I'm going to go sugar-free. Thank you very much. I don't want any piece of that. Gordon near side, complete. No, dropped by Leary.
Goodness, man.
It's the second time he's dropped the ball right at him.
That is, man. Leary, known for his sure hands. I think a lot of times, man, these guys are just running before they actually secure the catch.
He had 2 receptions for 85 yards and a touchdown last week against Manor, so Leary is certainly dangerous. You let that one out of reach. Free play for LBJ. No, they're going to call it dead. There were a couple of Panthers offsides as Jalen Hall was there, Charlie Robbins was there. Red jerseys scattered throughout the backfield, and it'll be 5 extra yards and a first down for LBJ.
Yeah, we've had a pretty sloppy play on both sides sometime, but it's just been all the fumbles. Don't know if it's because the ball is wet or what's going on.
You're thinking maybe humidity playing a factor there?
Maybe.
It's not easy to hold on to the football when it is as humid as it is tonight in Dallas. Hand off to Alexander, explodes through the hole, and he turns on the afterburners inside the 15-yard line, and he's gone. The Jaguars get on the board in a big way, 58 yards to the house.
Coach Fenner called him all day, Cedric Alexander, and that's what that is, an all-day kind of run right there, untouched. Hit his head on the goalpost kind of run.
Goodness gracious, you saw the speed. Woo-hoo. Didn't look like he was going to get away from the second level of the Parish defense there, but right around the 35-yard line, he turned on the afterburners and was off to the races. Point after a lofted kick sideways, and it's going to go off and to the left. No good. 14-6 our score as LBJ gets on the board. We've got 47 seconds left in the first quarter of action. Overall, one word to describe this game in the first half, Heckma, would be
hot.
Okay, other than the weather, the humidity, that's fine. That's a good one.
Man, just back and forth. I know you said one word, but it is.
Words.
Yeah, it's back and forth right now, man. It looked for a while like the Panthers were kind of dominating this game, and all of a sudden the Jaguars have come to life, and that run may have been the thing to kind of steal some of this momentum back.
I think you're going to circle the fumble from Mays at the 31-yard line when we go back and look at this right around halftime, because that was a drive that already started developing for the Panthers and started looking like they were finding a groove again. Anderson had all the confidence, and if they would have gone down and scored, it would have been 21-0 rather than 14-6, and now all of a sudden it's back to a one-possession game. And the Jaguars have plenty of opportunity here in the closing seconds of the first, heading into the second quarter, to make an impact.
Yeah, that's why coaches just preach ball security, not fumbling, because when you do things like that, this is what happens. You give an offense like the Jaguars.
And an onside kick for LBJ. That was I
don't think it went far enough.
No, it didn't go 10 yards. But you can see some of the trickery from Coach Fenner's squad, and once again, Parish will start a drive from the Jaguars' side of the 50-yard line.
Don't think that was the way he had it designed. Don't want to give that up. I think he was trying to play the element of surprise there, But just talking about that turnover before and just, giving an offense like the Jaguars new life when they were already down and kind of downtrodden with the mistakes that they had been making.
Let's see how quickly Parish gets back to their weapons outside. Instead, they give it inside to Paul. He is a weapon himself, hurdles a man, and he dropped the football again. Second straight carry out of the backfield for the Parish offense, and the second fumble. The first one was Cedric Mays. Now this one belongs to Andrew Paul, and the ball goes back over to LBJ.
Oh, that's very disappointing right there, because Cedric Mays goes airborne and takes a hit from a Jaguar, and Andrew Paul just fumbles the ball, man. That's a bad break for the Panthers.
And a fantastic break if you're a fan of the LBJ Jaguars. I know this is a Parish stream, but I'm sure we probably have a little bit of both tuning in tonight. Glad you're with us here on Game On Sports. 41 seconds left in the first quarter, a quarter that has taken an eternity because of the back and forth that we've had. Completion to the far side as Kellen Rogers shows his running ability and picks up about 9.
Didn't he not? I mean, that was just a simple hitch. He brings that thing back in looking for more yards. Actually gets 9 yards on that play.
Second down and very short. That one almost tipped at the line of scrimmage. It's a complete far side to Makuba. And it's a first down for the Jaguars. Almost said Jacksonville.
When you pointed to Andrew Paul, I wanted to ask you, did I say Ezekiel Elliott?
Oh, goodness.
What did I say?
First down. Alexander, fresh off of his 58-yard touchdown scamper, picks up a pair. Have to be impressed with the way that the Parish defense has continued to defend the run.
Oh, they're doing a great job. They're doing a great job. But, again, when your offense fumbles like that, you just gave up a score, and you're back on the field, man, this defense is tired. I mean, they're going to have to find that second gear.
On to the second quarter we go. After one, Parish with an 8-point lead. 14-6 is our score here on the Game On Sports Network. Kyle Yeomans alongside Heckma Harrison. We've got Jeremy Beedling down on the sideline, and we've got plenty of football left in this one. And, of course, Parish needs to clean things up. 2 turnovers there in that first quarter. The Jaguars on the other side also with a turnover. Let's go ahead and head down and check in with Jeremy Beedling on the sideline. Jeremy?
Hey, Kyle. So as we all know, quarterback Anderson, he is a freshman, but there is no lack of veteran leadership in this offense. Paul, Youngblood, and Hill, all seniors, and they've all played a big part in the offense so far. Besides that fumble, all the seniors have been looking good, and we're hoping that in the rest of this game, they're going to be showing out. Back to you, Kyle.
Thank you very much, Jeremy, and great points overall about the experience that is remaining on the Parish team. I mean, you look at some of the seniors that have already played big-time roles. Blake Youngblood, Nathaniel Hill, Daniel Dimmery. Even though he's not a senior, he's still an experienced varsity player for Parish. They're going to have to be the ones that step up in a game like this where you are being tested.
Oh, absolutely. And that's senior leadership, your captains. You want to get behind those guys, and they want to be the ones, especially in a situation where you've turned the ball over twice in the first quarter, to kind of rally the troops and get this train back on track.
Got to hold on to the football. Neither team has been very good at doing so. 2nd and 15, and we have some more whistles. It's been a busy first quarter and change for this Dallas football chapter of officials. Through the first quarter, LBJ outgaining the Panthers, 130 yards to 76. Now, a lot of that has to do with the starting field position offensively, in which Parish has taken advantage. One of their touchdown drives was a total of 1 play for 4 yards. 2nd and 13. Hand off to Miller. Such a big back, and he rumbles his way past the 40, picks up about 5 on 2nd down.
Yeah, Miller is definitely that change of pace back for the Jaguars. Does a great job. Him and Cedric Alexander complement each other well.
Yeah, they definitely do. You talk about the speed of Alexander meshed with the physicality of Miller. It definitely throws the defense off. Big third down on the way. 3rd and 7 from the 37. Gordon, far side, completes it, and reaching for the line to gain was Kellen Rogers. He did not get there, about a yard shy, but you expect the Jags offense to stay on the field.
Yeah, they will. I mean, based off of that PAT, they don't have a chance of kicking this one, so definitely going to go for it.
2 receivers near side, 4th down and short. LBJ gets the Panthers to jump off sides. It's going to be a 1st down and a free play, as that one's going to go all the way to Demery, who picks it off. He'll grab it at the 20-yard line, shakes to the near side. Once again, this is all just for fun, as Demery does understand that they are going to kneel that one down, and it'll be a 1st down again for LBJ. And if you're confused at home,
I'm confused in the booth.
the Panthers jumped off sides. It'll be a 5-yard penalty. It was a free play that was not called dead. Demery with the interception will not count. And so the Jaguars will move up to about the 26-yard line, where they will continue their drive. And there is a player down. We're going to step aside really quickly. 10:47 left in the first quarter, or excuse me, in the first half, as we are into the second quarter here from Dallas.
The penalty on the play was offsides against Parish. That 5-yard penalty good for a Jaguar 1st down. Ball now at the Panther 26-yard line. 1st down, 10 Jags.
So walking off on his own power was Jalen Hall, the junior. Will work his way to the near sideline. 1st down and 10 from the 26.
Yeah, that was a costly penalty for the Panthers to give up that yardage and give the Jaguars a 1st down.
And off to Alexander. Good defense from the Panthers. And there was there were multiple levels of that stop. I mean, there was one after the other, but it was finally cleaned up at the end by Malin.
Yeah, Malin does he's a sideline-to-sideline guy. It doesn't matter where it is. I mean, he is going to try and track it.
Loss of 3 on 1st down. Gordon, play action. That one's batted in the air, but it does fall to the turf.
Trade up, man. That kid is so tough.
Trade Dub. I like that.
Gets that mid up. Gets the block.
Is that how many fingers he got on it? Was Trey?
Yes.
At least put it in the area of Daniel Demery, who, with a little extra time, might have been able to get under that football.
But Trey, next time I'm going to need you to J.J. Watt that thing and take it to the house. You got it in you.
He definitely does. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that at least once this year. 3rd down and 13. Gordon going to let it fly. Has a man against the defense. It's its tailback, Cedric Alexander, right at the line to gain as he stays in bounds. And his forward progress is going to be enough to pick it up and move the chains.
Yeah, Cedric Alexander gets out of the backfield and just runs out to the deep third, right in front of Noah Billings, but Billings not able to get a ball batted down.
LBJ down by 8, trying to at least tie this ball game. Alexander explodes, elevates, and gets over the line to gain. It's another 1st down inside the 5 as he climbs the ladder on the Parish defense.
Yeah, he goes up like he's thinking about hurdling a man, and then he's like, I don't think I can do that, and goes end over end.
Can't fault him for trying. 1st and goal from the 4. What a drive this has been for the Jaguars. Miscommunication behind the line of scrimmage, and it turns into nothing on the carry.
Yeah, that's good defense. Ian Ussery in the middle, able to get that stop. He at number 33, James Cave.
2nd and goal, handoff to Miller, who powers his way forward, and he is into the end zone.
Now, do you attempt a PAT here, or do you attempt to go for 2?
I think with the way we saw the PAT earlier, I would just go for 2, but they do trot out the kicking unit. So not going for the tie. Instead, they'll go for a 1-point deficit. And we'll see if this one is put through the uprights. Current score 14-12. Jags trying to tack on one more. And the kick has the distance, and it is good. Right down the middle, 14-13 with 9:01 remaining in the second quarter. And Parish defensively just could not get the stop in a late down scenario. Could not have that chance to get off the field or at least convert on it.
Well, you have those 2 back-to-back fumbles by the offense, and that just takes your defense out. Those guys were zapped. 2 long drives by the Jaguars, and again, that's just one of those drives for the defense that they're going to wish, obviously, that they got to stop. But can't blame those guys for giving up those points and those yards right there.
Without one of the fumbles, that very easily, or this could very easily have been a 21-0 lead. Instead, it is a 1-point game. 14-13 is our score at the moment. And Parish still with plenty of time to put some more points on the board prior to the halftime break.
But it says a lot about the Jaguars, too, and their seniors that they have able to come down and get those 2 scores. So.
And another missed kick from Alexander. You know, that first one I called an onside kick, I don't know if that was intentional. This one definitely was not intentional.
He completely missed the ball there?
It kind of looked like it. And so the Panthers will once again have fantastic field position at the 46-yard line. So you're not going to light up the stat book in this one, at least special teams-wise. And LBJ defensively will need to at least challenge this Panthers offense that whenever they haven't turned over the football really hasn't been able to be stopped. 4 wideouts to start for Anderson in the shotgun. Rolls out on the bootleg and he completes it to Mays. And he is escorted out of bounds. Baker was there.
Gain of 1 yard on the play.
Underneath 9 to play now in the second quarter. Such length on the edge for this Parish offense. Chase Burton, 6 foot to the near side. Nathaniel Hill, 6'3" to the far side of the screen. Anderson with Paul off his left hip. Here it is. Hand off to Paul, goes nowhere as he is stacked up at the line of scrimmage by Isaiah Coney.
Yeah, Isaiah Coney playing really tough at the line of scrimmage. I mean, the Jaguars defense, man, you can see a lot of their confidence come back after getting those 2 fumbles. Look for Sawyer Anderson to try and get something over the top right now, because even though they're in that cover 2, they're in the coverage cover 2 right now, they're man-to-man on the outside.
3rd down and 7. Line to gain is the 36. 2 receivers to both sides. Anderson, laser over the middle, and that'll be incomplete. Tried to telegraph that one to Mays, and a little hot off the hands and incomplete. 4th and 7 on the way.
He had Mays and Burton in the same area, so definitely a miscommunication. But look up top at number 13, Nathaniel Hill, man. That's the guy that I'm saying that's man-to-man. That's where you pinpoint him.
See what they elect to do here on 4th and 7. Quick check at the line of scrimmage. It's Youngblood in the slot. Mays in between him and Hill to the far side of the screen. Shotgun, rolling left. Anderson, off balance. Throw has a man. It's caught. Past the first down marker into the hands of Cedric Mays. And the tailback, who can play a little slot receiver, shows his route running ability.
Play a little. He can play a lot. And you can tell once Cedric Mays cleared out on that side, he ran right into that empty space. That's a great pickup by the Panthers.
And he certainly had plenty of room, lost his man, and had a wide open patch of blue past the first down marker. Fresh set of downs for Anderson. Little misdirection on the handoff to Paul. Explodes up the middle, and he'll have a gain of at least a dozen inside the 20, and the Panthers are back in the red zone.
And you saw Andrew Paul, as soon as he felt that contact, he got both of his hands on that ball. He was not going to fumble that rock.
Not a second time. Had a fumble deep in Jack's territory the last offensive drive, and it ended up in LBJ points. Parish up by 1, trying to tack on some more. 7:20 left to play in the first half. Paul to the right of Anderson in the backfield. Bootleg right. Lofted pass. Trying to find Youngblood, who dives back to the football. That would have gotten him all the way down to the 1-yard line, but it was just out of reach.
Yeah, just out of reach and just low in the place where Youngblood couldn't get to it. But trust me, they will come back to that, Kyle.
That one might have ended up on SportsCenter if Youngblood could get to it. It looked like a center fielder diving for a Texas leaguer in the grass. 7:05 left on the clock. Second down and 10 from the 18. Handoff to Paul, through a stiff arm, and instead he is swallowed up behind the line of scrimmage. Multiple Jags get in there quickly. It was Jaden Rawls who was there on the stop.
Yeah, that's the second time that Rawls has come up from his safety position to get a stop on Paul.
Clock continues to run. Third down and a dozen. Anderson checking back at the line of scrimmage. What does the freshman have in store? Three-step drop. Lofted to the end zone. Going for Hill, and it's dropped in the end zone. It was put in the breadbasket by the freshman, but Nathaniel Hill just could not reel it in. He did have a defender draped all over him.
Well, that's the matchup that we've been clamoring for. We knew he was man-to-man on the outside. You got to come down with that if you're Hill.
Faison Washington was the one that was there, and goodness, could not have thrown a better ball out. Anderson couldn't have run it down there and handed it to him better. See if they go back to it. Fourth down and 12. They elect to keep the offense back on the field. Would have ended up being about a 37, 38-yard field goal. Instead, they go for it. Hit as he throws, and that'll fall incomplete. Just no time for Anderson to throw the football, and it's a turnover on downs, and now the Jaguars have an opportunity prior to the end of the first half to maybe put some points on the board and take the lead for the first time.
Yeah, I look for this Panthers defense. Right now they have them pinned, and the whole time for the Jaguars they've had to drive. Hadn't had to drive, and so I'm looking for the Panthers right now to stop this Jaguars offense.
This defense was so good in the first quarter of limiting the run, stuffing whether it was Alexander or Miller coming out of the backfield, and they're going to have to go right back to that. First and 10 from the 20. Handoff to Alexander. Sidestepped the first tackler, and he is cleaned up by Hill in the second level.
14, Daniel Demery, and 11, Noah.
Yeah, Alexander, he is so subtle. He doesn't do a whole lot of movement, but just very subtle in getting guys breaking those arm tackles.
Once simple feet. That might have been a backward pass that fell out of bounds. We'll see what it's called.
It sure would have been.
I think they called it that.
It should have been.
Yeah. So it'll back up the Jaguars. Not a turnover. However, LBJ lost about 6 on that backwards pass that skirted out of bounds on the near side. Third down and 8 with 6:03 left.
Panther fans, this is third down.
If the Parish defense can stand strong again. And that one skips his way in, the short hop far side, trying again to get it to Leary. And fourth down on the way, and the Jags are going to be forced to punt it.
Yeah, that's a big-time hold for the Panthers. They needed that. Give them an opportunity to get their offense back on the field and get some points towards the end of this first half.
Still plenty of time. Clock stops with 5:58 left. And once again, Parish just does not have the stats here in this first half that you would anticipate. Just 5 first downs for 102 yards. 83 of those have come through the air, only 19 on the ground. Good snap, good punt. It is a spiraling kick that'll take an LBJ hop at about the 50, and it'll work its way to the 36, where it finally craters down. And the Panthers will take over. So, 5:58 as the clock didn't actually start during that last play. However, there's still plenty of time for this team, this offense, with all 3 of their timeouts left to make something happen.
I'm just proud of Will Blush's group, the defense, getting the hold and just not allowing those guys to get a first down there. But offensively, man, they've got to take advantage of some of these matchups they have. And that last ball to Nathaniel Hill, man, they got to go back to that because of the favorable matchup that they have on the outside.
Have a tight end. Excuse me, no, they do not. They have 2 receivers to the near side, 2 backs alongside Anderson. How about Paul shaking off a tackler immediately, showing some brute strength right at the line of scrimmage to avoid what could have been a neutral gain or a loss.
Absolutely, not just falling forward. Like you said, that's one of those great characteristics of a good running back, always falling forward, and that's what Andrew Paul does.
Sets up 2nd and 2. Play action. Over the middle, it's Hill. Bounces off a man. Inside the 30, slung out of bounds, and a huge gain for Nathaniel Hill. The connection is there between the freshman and the senior.
Yeah, they got to keep going back to that because Nathaniel Hill, with his size, man, he's definitely able to use that to his advantage as he runs to the sideline with his right arm a little gimp. Hope he's all right.
First down.
Gains what'll be 38 yards on the pitch and catch. And the Parish offense threatening again inside the 30. Youngblood and Burton to the right side of the formation. Anderson wanted to go back there again, evades a tackle and throws it away. Hits the target on the chain far side. Not the target he was looking for, however. That was a smart play from a freshman to avoid the sack and get rid of the football.
Yeah, absolutely. You saw in that first quarter he had a similar situation like that where he scrambled all around and finally threw the ball out of bounds. Don't waste all that energy if you're Sawyer Anderson.
That's something that quarterbacks have a tough time adjusting to, is the time and the speed of a next level. Anderson having the pocket presence, 1, to evade the sack, and 2, to know how quickly he has to get outside to get that football thrown away. Shows just how ready he is for the varsity level. Handoff. Paul got tripped up behind the line of scrimmage. There are a couple flags that fly. We'll see what the penalty is here, but you're right, everybody has something to say. 4:50 left on the clock. It looked like Paul was tripped up from the shoelaces. Might have been extra contact above the waist.
Personal foul, face mask against the Jaguars.
And that contact comes to the face mask.
There were 4 minutes and 50 seconds left in the second quarter. Man, this would mean a lot for the Panthers to finish out the first half with some points.
Remember, the Parish Panthers do start with the football in the second half. So they will begin the third quarter on offense. Mays and Paul as the dual backfield. Anderson off balance, connects with Youngblood, who stays in bounds, gets inside the 10. Some of the physicality after the play, but it's a gain all the way down to the 9.
Like I said, they're going to come back to that. That's one of Youngblood's favorite routes that he runs. And so the ability for the Sawyer Anderson to find him on the outside is really going to be big for them, especially down in the red zone.
4:25 left as the clock stopped with Youngblood out of bounds. You would think if Parish were to score here in the coming seconds that they would have plenty of time, at least the Jaguars would, to go down the field on their own right. Here's Paul. Touched behind the line of scrimmage, but once again able to fall forward. And on third down, it'll be a shorter distance to gain.
Stepping up for the Jags.
Yeah, third down
2
and
yards on the
3.
Third down and 3.
So just the ability to get a first down here to also drain some of this clock.
Big third down on the way for the Jaguars defense. Mays in motion. Anderson throws it out to him, and the throw is low, incomplete, and the clock will stop, and there was a late hit.
Pass is incomplete.
Anderson
Flag
has
down.
his dome pop off, but a penalty flag flies in. This should keep the drive alive for the Panthers. Not a disciplined move from the LBJ side of things.
Not at all.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Targeting player is ejected.
So LBJ on a couple of fronts not going to be happy.
Yeah, they're going to lose Kyron Miller.
That is a big loss for that defense.
It really is.
The player ejected by
And for the offense, he was one of their featured tailbacks as well. That is a big-time
Ball
loss
now at the Jag
for
4-yard
LBJ,
line.
and
First
instead
goal, Panthers.
of having one of their better defenders, one of their better two-way players, they are without him for the rest of the game, and it picks up a fresh first down for Sawyer Anderson and this Parish offense, trying to take advantage from the 4-yard line.
Yeah, that's a big loss for the Jaguars.
Hand off to Paul. Pushes the pile, keeps the legs churning, and he gets all the way down to the 2-yard line. It looked like for a moment there, Heckma, he might have been able to push the pile enough to find some pay dirt.
It looked like the ultimate rugby scrum, man. I was jealous from up here. I wanted action.
I'm sure you could get down there pretty quickly.
I bet I could. It'd be halftime by the time I got down there.
By the time you got down there?
Yes.
I can see that. Second and goal from the 2. Paul on the handoff again. Second effort, not enough. Quickly in the mix, Kylan Johnson was there. Another one of those upperclassmen defensive linemen able to force a stop. And third down again on the way for this Parish offense.
Yeah, Jaguars doing a really good job of defending that red zone, man. And just those names that you just listed off, those guys are being stout down there in those A-gaps, not allowing much movement from Andrew Paul.
A couple of men check in a heavy package for Parish. Billings to the right. They give it to Paul. Billings going to lead the way, and he is stopped short again. That time getting in the backfield. It was Jaden Rawls, then the senior forces fourth down.
And Jaden Rawls is not a safety. He's a defensive end, Kyle.
Oh, and you can see why.
He is
physical.
And he's pretty big, so definitely not a safety.
They go with the same formation. It's Billings to the right. To left is Paul. Fourth down. They need to score. Paul on the drive. Pushes to the end zone. Reaches for the goal line, and he's got it. They're going to say that he dropped the football prior, and now it's on the return. LBJ is going to take this one 100-plus yards inside the 20 and to the end zone. The Jaguars all the way back down the field on a scoop and score after what looked to be a touchdown for Andrew Paul.
Wow. That was a clear touchdown from where we're standing. I mean, we're not that far away. That's a touchdown. I don't know what else you have to do. Ball's over. Wow.
And if it's even not a touchdown, if you wanted to make a case for it not being a touchdown,
or blowing it dead,
it would have been a blown dead play. I don't think either way that would have been called a fumble, either way, because the ball was crossed the goal line in the hand of Paul, clearly. Or you could say he was stopped forward motion and the play was dead regardless, and it would have been Jaguar ball on the opposite 1-yard line.
Really surprised by that. Really surprised that the officials are not huddled up talking about that, because that's a big-time mistake.
Huge. Here, let's go ahead and take this time to go down to the sideline and check in with Jeremy Beadling. Jeremy.
Thank you, Kyle. I'm right here, as you see right here. That's where the play happened. Andrew Paul, it did seem like he reached over the goal line to score the touchdown. They didn't call it in a fumble. But I also have for you an injury update, Kyle. Wide receiver Nathaniel Hill went out during that drive with an apparent wrist injury and is questionable to return. Back to you, Kyle.
So a couple of bad news updates there from Jeremy Beedling. Thank you very much. And Jeremy said it there. He had perfect position. And he said that the ball, he thought, had crossed the goal line pretty emphatically. And instead it was called a fumble. The second part of that bad news was the fact that Nathaniel Hill, the senior wide receiver, had come to the sideline with an apparent wrist injury and is questionable to return for the rest of the ball game. So 2 big-time hits for Parish here at the tail end of this second quarter with 1:54 remaining on the clock. And now they find themselves down 19-14 with either a 2-point conversion or a PAT on the way. The offense out on the field for LBJ. So it looks like they'll go for 2 and try and go up by a full 7 points.
You talk about a pendulum swing for momentum right there on that play. Everybody's standing around like that was a touchdown. And, wow, we say 100-plus yards on the return for the Jaguars. That's doesn't get any easier than that.
And you can guarantee, as there's a timeout called prior to the second, or excuse me, the 2-point conversion, you can guarantee that there will be that conversation had around the area. I mean, about whether or not that was a touchdown, whether or not it was a fumble. Certainly, from our vantage point, it looked like it was across the goal line, and Coach Novikov is livid about the call on the near sideline, visibly.
And that's well, just because we have to deal in the realities of what's going on.
Sure.
That's 2 fumbles now for Andrew Paul, and that one being the costliest one to this point.
Unbelievable. And a turn of events that LBJ is looking to take full advantage of. Oscar Gordon in the shotgun. He's got Alexander to his right. Handoff. Up the middle. Caleb Brown did not get there in time, so it'll remain a 5-point lead. No looking back, though, for Parish. They have 1:54 left on the clock to try and get to 21, as they were so close to doing a moment ago.
Yeah, man, you've really got to forgive me. I'm a little confused by that not being a touchdown a second ago.
Well,
but
you could use the word confused. You could use the word stunned.
Goodness.
Flabbergasted. I mean, there's a couple different words you could use to describe that one, some of which you can't say on the air.
Absolutely. Well,
however, 19-14 is the reality, and now the Parish Panthers have just under 2 minutes to drive all the way down the field and make something happen prior to the halftime break.
Well, the one thing that you did point out that I believe is a positive with all of that bad news that you just delivered about what happened
it wasn't me.
in that
it's Jeremy Beedling on the sideline
in that
delivered all
sequence.
the bad news.
So let's get to the good news. They do receive the kickoff in the second half. So
That's
no
true.
matter what happens, they still have an opportunity to put scores up at the beginning of the second half.
This is still a very real opportunity for a
absolutely.
2-for-1.
Yes, sir. Absolutely it is.
And especially with some of the miscues on special teams from LBJ, may not take very long for the Parish Panthers to strike.
And how do you replace the production of Hill?
There's a full kickoff, fair caught at about the 29-yard line. And now down by 5. Sawyer Anderson and the Panthers will take over. Friday Night Football here on Game On Sports. Glad you're with us in our fantastic crew from Gloria H. Snyder Stadium. Under the lights, it's the first home game of the year for the Parish Panthers. They'll hit the road again next week to take on Malakoff, about an hour and a half southeast of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Cardinal directions were never my strong suit. Neither is math.
I'm learning more and more about you each broadcast, man.
Anderson going to go empty backfield with 5 wide receivers. Cedric Mays in the slot to the far side of the screen. Quickly dumps this off near side, and a completion made as Burton reels it in.
Gain of 4 yards on the play.
As expected, going with a hurry-up offense.
Burton had a solid game last week. 3 receptions, 23 yards. 2nd down and 6. Big test for this offensive line to try and hold up and give Anderson time to throw. 3-step drop. Looks over the middle again. This time it's complete to Trey Williams, who's in on offense.
Man, Trey does it all.
Yeah, he does.
Gain of about 6 yards on the play.
Brings up 3rd down and 2. He fell inside and not out of bounds, so now we hit the 1-minute mark. And a big 3rd down here for Parish. Got to convert. Anderson keeps it himself. Tries to reach for the line to gain, and it looks like he might have gotten it right at the 40-yard line.
Oof.
So the clock stops as the chains reset. 45 seconds and counting. 4 wideouts now. Anderson rolls left. Thought about letting it go. Instead, dumps this off far sideline. Incomplete to stop the clock at 32 seconds.
That's a good job by the freshman. The clock going off in his head and hearing those footsteps and realizing he had no more time.
Panthers only have used one of their timeouts. They have 2 remaining. So should the clock continue to run, they could stop it. Keep an eye out on that should there be a completion that does not move the chains. 32 seconds left, 2nd down and 10 from the 40. Completion to Burton. Scampers out of bounds after a gain of 6. That'll stop the clock. Only 5 seconds trickle off that time.
11 Baker on the coverage.
Yeah, they got to try and hit something big here pretty soon, even though the secondary for the Jaguars are all the way back, playing it safe, so they're not going to let anything deep. So I understand Deacon and Duncan, the closer you get, but they're going to have to gamble and take something, try and get something big here.
Anderson with pressure off the edge, completes it into the hole, near side, out of bounds again. And once again, it's Trey Williams.
So the clock should have stopped, but it continues.
$18.4 left. There was a couple of seconds there on the clock.
Indicating another Panther first down.
And now we've got some confusions with the officials on the field.
Yeah, they're trying to get the clock.
There was 27 seconds on the clock when that snap was taken. Then there was a quick completion to the near side as Williams came out of the bounds on the Parish sideline. Coach Novikov having an extensive conversation. Once again, Parish will have the ball to start the 3rd quarter. They led this ball game at one point 14-0, and instead it's been 19 unanswered points from LBJ. A big-time answer from the number 5 team in 4A Division I. So 20 seconds on the clock is what they're going to reset this at. And now every second matters here, Heckma. And it looks like we have got things set up with 20 seconds on the clock and a first down for Sawyer Anderson and the Parish Panthers. All 4 wideouts there as Mays is in the backfield. Anderson over the middle, trying to find Demery, and instead it's intercepted in the secondary. Jabrion Riggins, the senior, comes forward to reel it in at about the 18-yard line. And it's the 4th turnover of the first half for the Parish offense. This one will end a drive with 11 seconds remaining in the 2nd quarter. And that's just a freshman trying to make a play.
Yeah, that was all set up by Latravian McCutcheon. The junior linebacker, he comes on a blitz and puts some pressure on Sawyer Anderson. And Sawyer Anderson just trying to make a play, Kyle, and just puts a little too much air on that ball and gets it intercepted. But you're right, those 4 turnovers is literally the story of this game.
The biggest one coming at the 1-yard line, maybe the 1-inch line. Returned 100 yards for a touchdown. And they're going to hand this one off. And now off to the races again. One of the tailbacks for LBJ running out of real estate as he's taken down by Billings. And that'll bring an end maybe to the first half. Clock stops at 1.3 remaining, so maybe one more play here. And they're going to go ahead and call a timeout and try and set up one last play here.
That is their 3rd and final timeout.
Yeah, that was a big play. I mean, I thought he was going to bust that thing. Washington, he looked like he had a lot of open space, but good job for the Panthers putting the clamps on that run and not allowing a score.
So first down and 10 with 1.3 left. Oscar Gordon back in the shotgun. Going to try and heave this one deep. 2 men back there for the Parish defense. And instead, it's one last handoff to Alexander. Bounces to the outside. Going to pick up some extra yards. But nothing going for LBJ there. They have 19 unanswered as we head to the break. The Panthers will get the second half kickoff. And there is going to be plenty of conversation after these first 2 quarters. We'll hit some halftime stats coming up here in a couple of minutes in what is a confusing first half of action and one that will send the Parish coaching staff reeling into the halftime break. But LBJ has to be happy with what they've got at the moment, Heckma.
Well, they do. They have to be happy with also their first half performance where they just looked abysmal in those first couple of minutes. And then all of a sudden after their errors, the Panthers go on a fumbling spree of their own.
Nathaniel Hill, certainly a big-time question on whether or not he will return. And we'll head into the halftime break. Coach Novikov joins Jeremy Beadling down on the sideline. Jeremy?
So obviously they've been running a lot of triple option to start the game off. What are you telling your defense to kind of stay disciplined and kind of shut that down?
Well, our defense is playing great. We just got to protect the football. That's been the big problem. You know, our defense has played a great game. It's just us turning the ball over too many times. We got to cut that out and start playing real football.
Awesome. And then on the first drive, it seemed like there was some nerves, some stuff from the offense, especially Sawyer Anderson, and then he seemed to calm down after that. What did you tell that offense after the first drive?
No, I mean, nothing. We just kind of settled in. I mean, he's a freshman, so he's going to have some ups and downs. We just got to play smarter football, you know, around him. That's a bigger issue than him, but, you know, we'll get it fixed and fix it, come back at halftime, and hopefully take this game in the second half.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy.
Back to you,
down
Kyle.
On the sideline, and Coach Novikov, of course, upset after the first half for good reason. I mean, he's talking about taking care of the football, something that neither team did very well through the first 2 quarters.
Yeah, Coach Novikov is not going to be pleased about that at all. And, I mean, those are errors where guys are just trying to pick up extra yardage, and they are on one of those particular, I remember Andrew Paul going airborne and fumbling the ball. Just so many different things have happened. Cedric Mays has had some miscues. The turnovers by the freshman Sawyer Anderson, and just so many things that they have to get together to go into the second half to win this ball game.
So we've got a halftime break upon us. Parish trailing in week 2 of the Texas high school football season. LBJ 19, the Panthers 14 here on Game On Sports. We'll be back with some more halftime stats when we return with more here from Dallas.
Panther fans, please welcome to the field your Parish cheerleaders. Your 2021-22 varsity head captains are Lexi Hamburger, Hope Brown, with co-captain Annie London. The social captains are Annabelle Everett, Ellie Held, and Izzy Baggett. The Parish cheer team is led by coaches Becca Johnson and Jamie Balda. The cheerleader of the week is Eleanor Patel. Thank you for your hard work. Panther fans, let's hear it for our varsity cheerleaders. And now, Panther fans, please put your hands together for your Parish Drumline. Tonight, the Drumline is proud to present their first production of 2021, Domino Part. Built upon a rock-solid groove, this piece weaves rhythms and melodies between all four sections before building to a cacophonous conclusion. The Parish Drumline is led by Captain Andrew Sinkovic. Our leadership team includes Landon Scott, Grace Ramsey, Owen Kisner, Drew Daggett, Ren Stadevig, and Jake McDonald. Let's have one more round of applause for the mighty Sound of Midway. The Parish drumline is under the leadership of Chris Burns and J.C. Lyon. Now assembling at the 50-yard line. Please welcome to the field your Parish Rosettes. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the award-winning Parish Rosettes. The Rosette officers are Lieutenant Alexis Arnaldi, Lieutenant Alexa Plumley, Lieutenant Maya Agrol, Lieutenant Peyton Plumley, First Lieutenant Emma Bland, and Captain Abby Jackson. The Rosettes have a special member joining them this evening. Parish 6th grader Charlotte Villa. Charlotte is the recipient of the Parish with Love auction to be a Rosette for the day. You too can participate in the auction in this upcoming gala. The Rosette of the week is Miss Abby Freeman. Now, feel free to sing along to the classic tune of Rock Around the Clock as you enjoy this new streamer jazz routine. Rosette. The Rosette managers are Mr. Reese Cotton and Mr. Adam Spencer. The directors of the Bears Rosettes are Mrs. Megan Bowen and Mrs. Sarah Snyder. Panther fans, let's bring them out for the second half. Our 2021 Parish Panthers.
(1914) our score from Gloria H. Snyder Stadium in Dallas as the Parish Panthers trail by 5 at the halftime break to Austin LBJ and the 4A Division I Jaguars here on Game On Sports. Alongside Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans taking a look at some of the first half stats for both sides of the football. 198 yards total compared to just 178 for Parish. Parish had all the momentum early, got off to 14 unanswered to start the ball game, but really did not have a rhythm later on, and a big reason for the lack of rhythm, Heckma, was turnovers.
Yeah, it was, and it's just turnovers in the first and second quarter. Well, the first quarter, it was the turnovers for the Jaguars, and then the second quarter, it was the turnovers for the Panthers. So both teams making their share of errors, but it looked to me like the Jaguars were able to capitalize there in the second quarter to get up by a score. But man, I'm still doubting. I'm still doubting that touchdown, that fumble that was 100+ yards that they ruled that it was a fumble in the end zone. I just think that was error on the officials.
In case you're just joining us, it was 14-13 the score, and there was a chance for Andrew Paul on 4th down and 2 to get into the end zone. He reached across the goal line pretty clearly by about a yard, and the ball was knocked out of his hands and put into the red turf that was in the end zone, and instead that was returned after the fumble, or what was called a fumble, 100 yards for a touchdown, and that is how Austin LBJ has the lead as we head into the second quarter. In that first half, I did the math, Heckma. It's very dangerous for me.
I know.
There were 11 balls put on the turf, 11 fumbles total, 6 of which were recovered by the opponent. 4 from Parish and 2 from LBJ in that first half. It was not clean from either side, and Parish will start with the football here in the third quarter, trailing by 5, and a chance for true freshman Sawyer Anderson to make some noise. This one to the up back, fair caught by Burton at about the 35-yard line. Let's go ahead and head down to Jeremy Beedling, who's on the sideline. Jeremy.
Thanks, Kyle. So as you heard, Coach Novikov said he really wanted to start the second half out strong, and they'll get a chance getting the ball to start the second half. And it does look like Hill will re-enter the game with that wrist injury. Back to you, Kyle.
So Jeremy, who had the bad news in the first half, brings some good news and brings some light here in the third, as it does look like Nathaniel Hill will work his way back into the offense. He's not out there at the moment, but he is planning to get back out there at some point throughout this second half, which is great news to have the senior wideout back in the mix. It's Anderson on first down, steps up into the pocket, and his first throw is going to be intercepted. LBJ defensively had one pick in the first half, and they have a pick on the second, or on the first play, I should say, of the second half.
Just one of those, you got to, Sawyer Anderson right now, as a freshman, you've got to calm him down. Coach Novikov is going to sit him down. He's trying to throw into double coverage a lot of times, especially when you have a team like the Jaguars, who have a lot of senior leadership, especially in their secondary. They're able to kind of fool the freshman, and that's what they did. They undercut his receiver, knew where he was trying to go, and that's just credit to their defense and adjustments made at halftime.
First down and 10, and LBJ with their best starting field position of the ball game from the Panthers' 28-yard line, moving inward. Gordon going to try for the long ball early, and that one complete down at the 1-yard line, and it's a pitch and catch. Gordon goes for the long ball, and he connects out wide to Makumba.
Yeah, Makumba's been working that sideline this entire game, and he just undercuts the defenders in perfect position, man, but they get it down to the 1-yard line.
And a handoff to Alexander, bursting forward and into the end zone. Pay dirt for Cedric Alexander, and the junior has his second touchdown of the ball game. And just when you thought Parish was the one making a statement to start the third quarter with the football, it's an interception and a couple plays down the field for the Jags.
Yeah, they make it look easy, especially when you give them that favorable field position. That's where they want to be. But also, Oscar Gordon doing a really good job of finding Makuba down to the 1-yard line. So, again, Jaguars stealing the momentum at the end of the second quarter, and they're stealing it again at the beginning of the beginning of the third.
A sophomore with his first career varsity touchdown. Had one reception for 24 yards yesterday. No touchdown there for the sophomore. He did get them down to the 1-yard line. That set up Cedric Alexander, the junior, who scored, as the PAT is good. 12-point lead for LBJ, and the Jags lead it 26-14. And what if you were in the same shoes as Coach Novikov here, Heckma Harrison, what would be your message right now? I mean, you go into the halftime break, certainly that was a fired-up message, but now you're back on the sideline down by an extra score.
Yeah, and the thing is that obviously the message needed to be not to turn the ball over, and then they come out and open the second half with the turnover. So, again, you just got to try and make sure that you get Sawyer Anderson on track. Just ground him. I mean, he's full of nerves right now. I know he has those turnovers, and he's trying to press. Just got to calm this guy down, because they have an explosive enough offense to, decrease this deficit here pretty quickly.
Under the lights here at Gloria H. Snyder Stadium, home game number 1 for Parish. They took the win last week on the road at Bel Air down in Houston, and this has been a much different ball game ever since the turn of the first quarter into the second quarter. They led 14-0 within their first couple of drives and have not had any success since. Pooch kick straight up the middle, bobbled around, and taken. I did not see a fair catch signal at all.
Oh, wow. You cannot do that.
That is the second call. And Trey Williams is going to chuck the football away. And nobody saw that one either. Goodness gracious. There was a fumble called in the first half that resulted in an LBJ 100-yard touchdown run. And that was not a fair catch, or at least at any point in that play. That could have been a touchdown on the return.
You know, we've seen some really squirrely things happen with kickoffs, and so that's just adding to the mystery of what the rules are.
Paul on the carry on first down. Escorts a defender out of bounds after a gain of 7. There's some chunk yardage that you haven't seen from the tailbacks who try and build that confidence back up after putting the ball on the carpet a couple of times.
Yeah, Andrew Paul has to do that because that's his MO. That's what he's known for. And those 2 turnovers right now, you can see his confidence kind of wanting, man. He's got to get back in this thing and feel better about himself. And a drive like this can get your senior running back in the groove of this game.
Chastised snap. Anderson near side completes that one to Billings. Billings down the near sideline, inside the 30, spins his way to the 20, breaks inside, and he's going to take it to the house. 63 yards all the way in for Noah Billings. Goodness gracious, that was elusive.
Did someone order a spin move? Because Noah Billings is delivering here at Panther Stadium.
How about Noah Billings, the senior, showing off and providing a jolt to the offense that the Panthers have been waiting for ever since the first quarter. Line drive, PAT, right down the middle, and all of a sudden the crowd has woken back up.
Yeah, I told you that this offense is so explosive. When you're down by 12, man, you cannot feel bad about that because you can do things like this, and you have the playmakers to do it. I'm just glad Noah Billings put that talent on display.
Billings did not have a reception last week in Bel Air. Down in Houston, he's had a couple today, but none bigger than that one from over 60 yards out. And goodness, the spin move and then the vision to keep his head up and break back in toward the hash marks was enough to find some open space.
Not only open space, but the speed. As soon as he broke that first tackle, man, he was off to the races. And again, even when the Jaguars defense thought they had him cut off, he was able to cut it back upfield. That's just great vision and great speed, like you said.
So we've already seen a couple of touchdowns back and forth between both sides, and we are just over a minute and 15 seconds here into the third quarter. Alongside Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeomans here for Game On Sports. Plenty of time left, and I feel like, are just getting started, my friend.
We are.
There is a long way to go in this one. Big time boot, and that one will settle in the end zone for a touchback. So 26-21. Jags at their 25-yard line will start with 10:44 on the clock. Both teams now up over 225 yards of total offense. 240 now for Parish. And speaking of Noah Billings, that was his first reception, officially 56 yards to the house for the touchdown. Blake Youngblood has the other receiving touchdown. A couple of throws through the air for Sawyer Anderson. A couple of interceptions as well.
Good to see the freshman get that bad taste of the interception out of his mouth.
Parrish brings pressure off the edge. Handoff to Alexander, who evades one tackler and spins his way for about 2 yards before he's tripped up by the shoelaces. 2nd and 8 on the way.
Yeah, this defense has definitely got to put it on them. I mean, guys up front, and that's Ian Ussery, Jalen Hall. You know, these guys played a really stout first quarter, but have had some lit downs over there by Will Glusher's group.
Alexander, 14 carries, 113 yards, and a couple of touchdowns in the first half. Kyron Miller, who had 7 carries for 21 yards and a touchdown, not in the game anymore as he was ejected in the second quarter due to a targeting call on defense. He doubled as a defensive lineman and the tailback. He is no longer a part of the football game. This officials group down on the field having trouble again here in this third quarter. Never want to harp on the officials, but this has been rough on a couple of occasions. And we're going to reset the game clock here to 10:27 on the game clock as it's 2nd down and 8 following the run. Gordon back in the shotgun. He's got Alexander to his left. 3 receivers all to the bottom of the formation. Gordon keeps it, explodes up the middle, has some extra space, and he's tripped up past the 40-yard line. And there's the quarterback keeper that goes for double digits.
Yeah, that's a perfect time for Oscar Gordon because he puts that ball in the belly of Alexander, and the whole Panther defense bites on it. But once he pulls it, he has an alleyway for that first down.
Gordon now into the flats. That ball bobbled and held onto by Leary. Keeps the legs churning, and he has another first down.
God, Trenton Leary could not get a hold of that ball. He's still trying to move his feet and catch the ball at the same time, but able to catch it and then get out and get positive yardage.
Gordon adding to the passing total. He had over 1,500 yards a year ago. Had 360 on the ground and 22 touchdowns. Lots of confidence for the head coach Finner in his quarterback, as here's some confidence with Alexander spinning his way, keeping the ball moving forward, and his balance and presence of mind to keep that one moving gives him 13. Quickly back up to the line of scrimmage. They give it to him again. And again, chunk yardage, that time 6 yards.
Yeah, he is punishing as a running back. And this speed offense is definitely one that will tire out a defense because they're right back to the line of scrimmage.
Gordon pulled it. Met in the second level. And a solid play defensively by Malin.
Yeah, Malin's been making some stops here, but right now everything that you're seeing is positive yardage for the Jaguars. A really good drive that they're putting together.
Yeah, it really has been solid. First down after first down. New tailback in there. They hand it off to him. Once again, gets to the second level before he's met. That's Faison Washington.
Yeah, Faison Washington, a senior. Again, back quick to the line of scrimmage, and when you have a running back like that, change of pace, man, it's really difficult to get him down.
And the defense wasn't even set for Parish. Complete into the flats, far side, escorted out of bounds.
Yeah, never have been a fan of, as a defensive player, of the hurry-up offense because, look, they say the defense is the one that's getting tired, but the offense is running the same plays with you.
Exactly right. 3rd down and 2. Can the Parish defense get off the field? Washington on the carry. He did not get to the line to gain. Maybe picked up 1 as he inches down to the 15-yard line. And it'll be 4th and 2 on the way. Offense stays on the field.
It's a big 4th down.
Couple of substitutions for the Panthers. Offsides as they're going to get a free play and a first down as the Jags will stay on the field. That has happened multiple times throughout the ballgame.
Yeah, that's the senior Oscar Gordon, just knowing that he has this Panther defense reeling, and he goes on a hard count and get them offsides.
And that one, again, a killer on defense. We saw it in the first half. There were multiple of occasions where they had a chance to get off the field and just couldn't stay disciplined.
No, they couldn't. And again, that's the byproduct of that hurry-up offense and fatigue.
Washington on the carry. Explodes forward, and he's going to walk his way into the end zone. The Jaguars come all the way back down the field, and they score from 10 yards out to extend their lead. 32-21, our new score.
Yeah, that speed is on full display right there. Faison Washington going away from Cedric Alexander, not going away from Alexander, just changing the pace, and his speed made all the difference once they got into that red zone.
Late down scenarios paying dividends for the Jags. You can see the youth showing from Parish here in the second and third quarters. They had the hot start, weren't able to hold on to it. And the Jags are going to be forced to call a timeout here, but you got to find answers. You found them offensively, and that was Noah Billings with a 56-yard touchdown reception. Now you got to find them defensively.
Yeah, for the defense right now, it's the hurry-up offense, I think, that's affecting these guys. You look at those second quarter turnovers, that hurry-up offense, again, getting them back to the line of scrimmage, just pretty much victimized them all the second quarter. They started in the third quarter the same way. It's the running game for the Jaguars as well, man. Every time you see these Cedric Alexander, he's falling forward for positive yards, and he's also a bruising running back.
8:10 left in the third quarter. We've now seen the quick strike ability from the Parish offense on a couple of occasions. There you see a heated conversation in the huddle. This defense going to have to do some learning tonight. Plenty of tests along the way for this Parish team, and Austin LBJ certainly won a top 5 team from the 4A Division I level, state semifinalist a year ago.
And they are there for a reason. You see that team speed, man. The first quarter they couldn't get the snap right, but once they did that and they calmed their nerves down, you can see how good this team is.
You're exactly right. This one goes off into the left, off the leg of Jose Urbina. So it keeps it at an 11-point advantage. Second missed PAT of the night for LBJ.
They've overcome a lot of things on special teams.
You're exactly
if
right.
it wasn't it was the kickoff initially, they just couldn't even get the ball off the tee, and now with 2 missed PATs.
You would think at some point throughout the game, if this remains to be an 11-point advantage, a touchdown from Parish, the conversation at least would be had to go for 2 and make it a 3-point ball game, as they are definitely within reach.
Yeah, Coach Glush has just got to calm his group down and get them to stop this run, because that's what is pretty much that balance in their running game is what's throwing the Panthers off right now.
Kicking off for the Jaguars.
Alexander getting ready to boot this one away. He's had better leg on his last couple of kicks after missing a few in the first half. No fair catch this time. And it's Trey Williams again who stumbles at the 41. He might have picked up more, but he just lost his footing.
Hey, Kyle, he didn't call fair catch in the one before. And
I know.
had he been able to run that one, we'd be talking differently about the score.
There's a reason why there's probably, I would say, 12 people in the press box right now, and probably 10 of them made a mental note of that he did not wave his arm and came to the near sideline. 8:06 left as Parish takes over again on offense from the 43-yard line. Anderson with the give to Paul. Full head of steam. Goes to the second level, breaks off a couple tackles, and he gains 9 on first down.
That's what you got to do. Just go back to basics and let Paul get those positive yards and tire this defense out, and let your offense just offensive linemen pin their ears back and come after these guys.
Played at Keller Central as a sophomore, has been at Parish the last couple of years. 27 carries last week, and he has been used heavily tonight as well. That was carry number 16. They give it to Mays this time, who navigates his way past the marker.
33 Walls on the stop. The ball across midfield.
Another tackle from the defensive lineman and Rawls.
Those chains move on the far side of the field, indicating another.
It's a good zone run by Cedric Mays, just finding a hole and getting up in there and getting the first down. Taking what the defense is giving you.
Burton to the top of the formation. Paul held up from behind. Smart play defensively from Kylan Johnson, the defensive tackle. He came back and he had a full hand full of horse collar, but he let go before pulling him down.
Oh, absolutely. He does a good job of that, because if he holds on, man, that may be a 15-yard penalty.
Under 7 to play in the third. 11-point lead on the road for Austin LBJ. Anderson, off-balance throw, has Burton. That has been a connection that has been reliable for the freshman quarterback, and this one picks up almost 7.
Yeah, that route's been open for him, and whether it's Youngblood or Burton, they're wide open.
Ball down to the Jaguar 39-yard line.
Third down and 5. Got to get to the 34-yard line before moving the chains again. Another good drive put together by the Panthers. And off to Paul, and he lost his footing. Blown up behind the line of scrimmage again. by Kylan Johnson, but really it was already in front of him.
Yeah, Kylan Johnson, man, he jumps this thing, and he is there at the point of attack. And as soon as Paul tries to make a move, he slips on the turf, and that's what's creating this fourth down for the Panthers.
Can they convert again? They did so on a couple of occasions in the first half. Anderson, three-step drop, lets it fly, caught far sideline. What a grab by Burton. Andy got a foot down in bounds.
Oh, that's so pretty. Trey Burton knows what has to happen. They have to get a first down. He goes up and catches that ball. That's all money for a first down for the Panthers.
What a play from Burton to move the chains. Had just 3 receptions last week, and he has the biggest one of the night so far. Nate Weber having to check in as scampering out of bounds back to the sideline is Blake Bassman. Not exactly sure what that was. Clock down to 1 second on the game clock. They barely get it off in time, and Anderson gets back to the line of scrimmage. Miscommunications on the substitutions really doomed that play before it got started.
Yeah, we was running down on the play clock, and Sawyer Anderson didn't want to take that delay of game, so went ahead and snapped it. But, again, that's pretty much a waste of a first down based off that miscommunication.
They mark it as a loss of 2. 2nd and a dozen. This one complete near side to Cedric Mays. Picks up close to 4 yards.
They found their money routes. They know what they can get on this Jaguars defense, and they're taking what they can give them, and this is a big third down right here.
We still haven't seen Nathaniel Hill back on offense, and you would think he's the biggest deep threat for this Parish team. Most of it has been underneath the defense here in the third quarter. 3rd down and 5 again. Anderson off balance, does get it complete to Youngblood, who stays on his feet and churns for a first down inside the 20.
Boy, that's all Blake Youngblood on that play. Man, and Sawyer Anderson put that into a window kind of behind him, but Youngblood able to come up with it and get a first down. That's a free play with the offsides by the Jaguars.
Yeah, that penalty is going to be declined, and it will stand as a first down reception, but either way, it was a tight window, and the freshman able to fit it in there. Senior makes a nice play. Panthers in need of points here. Handoff. Paul keeps the pile moving inside the 5. How about the physicality? He's still going all the way down to the 1. And he stopped just short of the goal line. How about the second effort from the senior Andrew Paul?
Andrew Paul has some making up to do, man, and he is going to drag everybody into the end zone with him if he could.
Goodness, he would just not go to the turf.
His way down to the Jaguar 1-yard line.
Credit to the officials to let that one keep rolling. They could have played that and called it dead initially, but Paul had the leverage and kept it moving. 4:49 left. Back into the shotgun from the 1-yard line. They hand it off up the middle, and he's in for the touchdown. Keegan Addison, the senior, has his first rushing score of 2021, and that's a big-time drive for Parish.
Oh, absolutely it is. And again, this game is just pretty much ebb and flows and back and forth, but Panthers are definitely stealing some of this momentum back.
The PAT soon to be on the way here for Parish to cut the lead to 4. And that one right down the middle. 32-28 our score, back to a 1-possession game. Let's head down to the sideline with Jeremy Beedlin.
Thank you, Kyle. Now, if you know anything about Parish football, you know this is probably one of the closest games they've had in the past year. Now, that is because a lot of seniors last year left, and there's a lot of new guys on the field right now. But 2 of the linemen, Hayden Weber and Elliot DeSalms, are not giving up yet. They are pacing down the sidelines, hitting everybody's shoulders, saying, this is not over. This game is still ours. So we have to wait and see for the rest of this fourth quarter. Back to you, Kyle.
Very good point on the sideline from Jeremy. And in speaking of the youth of this Parish team, you need senior leadership. Just so happens that at this point, it's Desalomes and it's Weber that are stepping up as leaders on the sideline. You saw him paving the way for the ground game of the Panther offense that last drive. You need some guys to step up when there is some youth scattered throughout your team.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you have the turnovers that they do. You have to cooler heads will prevail on a night like tonight. They have to stick with their game plan and don't deviate from who they are.
And they were hoping for another big bounce that could have pinned the Jaguars back. Instead, it does roll out of the back of the end zone, and the LBJ offense will take over at the 25. 4 minutes, 40 seconds left on the clock in the third quarter. Still a lot of football left to play. You just have the offense execute exceptionally well on their drive down the field, most notably with the run game. But defensively, Heckma, it has been a struggle ever since the start of the second quarter.
They have got to stop this run. They definitely do. I mean, and you think about it. Cedric Alexander and Kyron Miller were telling the story in the first half. Miller goes out with the hit, and then they come with Faison Washington. They have got to stop this running game of the Jaguars because they're making the difference, and that's what's putting them back on their heels.
And defensive line going to have to play very well. Hall Wright with a nice tackle for minimal gain as now Gordon takes it forward. About a yard shy of the first down as it's 3rd down and 1. Gordon has only put it in the air 16 times. He's completed 9 passes for 93 yards. Nothing really downfield for LBJ. It's all been underneath.
But efficient.
They keep things turning. They'll look to do so again here on 3rd and short. Panthers trying to get off the field. And it looks like a false start at the moment. Flags fly in.
Marker before the snap.
And there's the call.
Yeah, I don't want to assume the obvious on this. I want to
No
wait
more.
on the call to be made.
We do not assume any longer.
Just when we think it's a score, it's a 100-yard return. This is
Nothing is as it seems on Friday night in Texas. 3 minutes and 52 seconds left in the third.
It's a big 3rd down.
Huge 3rd down, 3rd and 6 to be exact. Gordon in the shotgun. Might have been a false start that time, too. He lets it fly far side. Caught and pushed out of bounds. Demery able to stop Leary about 4 yards, maybe 3 yards shy of the marker, and here's 4th down on the way.
Daniel Demery is just so athletic, and I thought he was going to break on that pass. He was reading it the whole time. If he's able to catch up and get in the flat, he can take that thing to the house.
Looks like Gordon's going to boot this one away as he backs up out of the formation. One of those quick kicks. Clean getaway. End over end kick inside the 40, and it's out of bounds at the 35-yard line. There's the defensive stop the Panthers needed.
Yeah, they got it. They got it, and they got stout on that defensive line. They stopped the run. That was exactly what they needed to do. Got it, and now for this Panther offense, man, they got to get some scores here.
They have been much more calculated and clean since the halftime break, with the exception of the first pass interception. And we'll see exactly what this Parish team can get in store. Who do you need to get going here in the second half to really give you an extra edge?
Absolutely. And look, if you don't have Nathaniel Hill, your big play receiver, you got to go to Blake Youngblood. Youngblood in the slot is wreaking havoc right now on the Jaguars.
And they're going to go near side to Billings, who broke a big-time run earlier. Stays on his feet, might need to go to the ground as the Jaguars continue scratching and crawling at the ball.
They are ripping at that thing, aren't they?
Trying to jar it free, and Billings does a fantastic job to hold on to it. Brute strength from the receiver to avoid another fumble.
Well, they're worried about Billings. They saw exactly what he did. They saw what he did on that long touchdown. So you better bottle that guy up.
He's got man coverage. Now has somebody over the top to the near side. Hand off to Paul. And that time just runs over a defensive lineman. Maybe had a cutback lane, but didn't see it. It's a gain of 3 on first down.
Hey, that may not look like anything to the average person, but when the running back runs over a guy like that, I'm telling you, man, that pays dividends. Caleb Brown will think about that the next time he sees Andrew Paul in that B gap.
Wears down a defense. I know I would not want to step in front of that freight train barreling down upon you. 6 foot, 212 pounds. 2nd and 8 on the way. Paul again. Another head of steam. And this time he is bottled up for just a gain of 3, bringing up 3rd down and 5. Back into enemy territory. Last time it was a big-time 4th down conversion that kept the drive alive as they found Chase Burton on the far sideline. Who steps up big on this drive, starting with this 3rd and 5? Anderson, near side, tries to find Mays. It goes off his mitts and incomplete. Decision time for Coach Novikov.
Yes, it is. And it looks like he's keeping his offense on the field.
Nobody special teams unit-wise inching their way up to the sideline. Looks like they're going to elect to go for it on 4th down. 4th and 5. The freshman behind center. Andrew Paul to his right. Mays in motion. Anderson gets it to Mays, and he dropped it. An extra hit after the play. No flag as he was playing the football, and it's a turnover on downs. The play call was there, just did not have the execution.
Yeah, Sawyer Anderson throws it behind him. And for the freshman, that's one that he wishes that he has back, because I tell you, Cedric Mays was in a position not only to pick up the 1st down, but also pick up some positive yardage there. So, again, Sawyer Anderson has made his mistakes tonight. But, again, this is definitely a learning experience and a on-the-job training for the freshman.
On-the-job training is right. It was in the job description. And it comes with the territory. Big-time stop for the Jaguars defense. You got to give credit to LBJ for not budging that time. And with 1 minute and 40 seconds on the game clock, the Jags will start at the 45-yard line.
Definitely need a big stop right here. Again, the defense has got to make a difference, get the ball back in the hands of the freshman.
So far, the Jags with 308 total yards. Just 96 through the air, 212 on the ground. They have run the ball at will. Little miscommunication. Alexander with a delayed handoff will take it to about the 49 before he loses the lid.
Goodness, make sure there's not a head in that thing.
It wasn't Alexander that lost the lid. It was actually one of the Panther defenders.
That's Trey Williams.
That's a big loss, at least for 1 down here. Big hit over the middle. Woo-hoo. Oh, we thought Trey Williams was the heavy hitter. Make way for Keegan Addison.
Yeah, Keegan Addison came up and filled that gap immediately.
Third down on the way. Another chance for the Panthers to get off the field. 6 yards to gain. They need to get to the 45-yard line. Gordon in the shotgun. 3-step drop. Under pressure. And he's taken down for a sack. A late flag flies in. It's in the spot of a hold. I think Jalen Hall Wright completed the sack, and it's going to be 4th down.
Finally, Coach Galusha brings some pressure on the quarterback, and he's able to get him down. Either a sack or get a turnover. That is exactly what this Panthers defense need. I think they'll settle for getting that stop.
Back them all the way up to the 40-yard line. It's 4th and 15 after a big-time sack from Jalen Hall. Did not have one last week. He has a huge one here at the tail end of the 3rd quarter. So the second straight drive where the Panthers have limited the Jags on offense. They're going to send the entire punting unit out there. No quick kick this time.
Yeah, now they've had some punts where the snap goes over the punter's head, so watch for that. Not this time.
Good punt. Williams almost got in there.
He tipped that.
He might have gotten a hand on it, and it takes a Panthers bounce before it is corralled at the 43-yard line. Another great stop defensively and awesome field position for the Parish offense as this sideline begins to feel it.
Yeah, they have to. The momentum is swinging their way with 34 seconds in the third quarter. They've got to come up big and just continue to chip away at this lead by the Jaguars.
Just 34 ticks left in the third. A third quarter that has been a roller coaster of emotions, maybe not as much as the second. Man, that second quarter was as wild as I've ever seen. And compared to that, it has been much so tamed here in the third, but it's still a very exciting and tight ball game here from Snyder Stadium. First down and 10. Play action.
He got him.
Anderson has a man downfield, overthrows him. Went to the other man.
Oh, yeah, Chase Burton was running down on that. Looked like he had him on a go route and for a couple of steps by himself.
Burton and Youngblood both running seams up the field, the vertical routes. And they had a couple of steps. And that's where some of the growth can happen for a freshman quarterback. You would think by the end of the year, heading into sophomore year, maybe junior year, he's able to complete a couple of those. And then it becomes automatic. Second down and 10 following the incompletion. They give it to Paul, who has some running room. Such a powerful runner. And goodness, once he puts a foot in the ground, he can take off.
Yeah, that just shows the balance, how balanced this Panthers offense can be. They get the Jaguars back on their heels looking for Sawyer Anderson to get out of the pocket and try and get some of those passes off. And then they hit him with Andrew Paul to pick up the first down. It's just great play calling by Coach Novikov.
Final play of the third quarter.
All day long.
Pitch and catch. Far side, it's Burton again, who has had a miraculous game and has really provided a consistent target for the freshman in Anderson. We're through three here from Dallas. 32-28. The score, Parish trailing by 4, but driving. They'll flip fields and go back to the 26-yard line where a 2nd and 6 will await them, and awaiting us to throw them down on the sideline. Jeremy Beedling joins us again. Jeremy?
Thank you, Kyle. Now, the coaches here on the sideline, they've been preaching two things to their players. One, ball security. You've been seeing a lot of that by Andrew Paul so far. 2 hands on the ball. He's not giving it up so far in the second half after those 2 fumbles in the first. And then the second thing they've been preaching, next play mentality. It doesn't matter what happened the last play. You go out and make the play the next play. And we've been seeing that fight all the second half from your Parish Panthers. Back to you, Kyle.
Absolutely great observation on the sideline by Jeremy. You know, coaches know what they're doing at this level. You don't get here for no reason. But all of the talking on the sideline, going through 2 different things. 1, ball security, hold on to the football. And 2, having that short memory of not relying on or dwelling on the play that happened prior. Figuring things out along the way and keeping your eyes forward. 2 great lessons learned by that Parish sideline. Handoff gets us started here in the fourth quarter alongside Heckma Harrison and Jeremy Beedling on the sideline. I'm Kyle Yeomans here for Game On Sports. Third down on the way here, Heckma. Do you go back to the air where it's been working for you in the third, or you try and get Paul to pick it up in 4-down territory?
Well, this is a sticky area right here, man. But I believe that you try and go in the air. I know what you have to pick up, so put it in your freshman's hands and allow him to throw a pass safe enough to get you the first down.
3rd down and 7. Rolling out. It's a screen to the opposite side of the field. One-handed grab by Paul. Has a seam up the sideline, and it's a first down. How about the play call dialed up from the offense?
And that's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, you get a screen when you have a defense that's very aggressive, get them up the field, which the offensive line allowed those guys to get up the field, and then Sawyer Anderson gets the pass over to Paul, one-handed snag to get that first down, man. That's just a great play design, but even better run by Paul.
Yeah, the execution there was flawless from Paul. Anderson barely got that football away.
Oof.
A fraction of a second in time. First down from the 19. Handoff. Paul still going on his feet. Finally taken down after about 9.5. He's inside the 10-yard line. Half a yard shy of the marker, but second and inches on the way.
Andrew Paul, that's exactly what he does, man. And they're working behind this line, that right side. Aiden Gilmore, number 70, on that right side, man. They are just road grading that whole right side to pick up that positive yardage.
Billings to the top of the formation. Paul still in the backfield. They give it to Paul. Paul explodes forward, stays on his feet, and he reaches. He's in. Panthers retake the lead in the fourth.
What did I just tell you about the right side of that offense and what they're able to do? Gilmore on that right side, man, they are definitely just pushing this Jaguars defense back. They're starting to look tired, but Andrew Paul, y'all, he is getting it done today.
AP. The initials reign true, and the PAT is up and good. 3-point lead. It's back to a field goal advantage for the Panthers, who trailed by as much as 12 at one point here in the second half. And now back up by 3 with 10:31 remaining in the fourth.
Look at Hayden Weber of the offensive line coming on the sideline, just bumping into everybody, man. The momentum is switched to the Panthers sideline.
And the Panthers defensively have been so stout here in the third quarter, now into the fourth quarter, after LBJ really just looked unstoppable at the tail end of the second and then the start of the third. It's those two stops from Parish defensively that allowed this offense to get back up on top.
Absolutely, and Keegan Addison doing a great job, and also Cooper Malin. These guys are getting stops. Jalen Hall on the front line, just getting stops for that defense, getting off the field, man, doing a really good job of getting the ball back over to the Panthers offense. But, boy, what do you say about the freshman by making all the right decisions, not turning the ball over and getting some scores down there?
Breaching the ball security. And that ball's fumbled at the 5-yard line. Picked up on the special teams unit, and still on his feet is Alexander, as he's now down to the 20-yard line before he's finally taken to the turf. Could have been dangerous on both ends of the special teams unit. But you mentioned Sawyer Anderson, 35 attempts. They have let the freshman throw the football. 256 yards, a couple touchdowns, and a couple interceptions. But Andrew Paul, what a day he has had. 25 carries, 112 yards, and now a pair of touchdowns.
Kyle, I think they are allowing Sawyer Anderson to cook.
Oh, is that what they call it?
Yep.
Is that what the kids call it these days?
Letting him cook.
Letting him be a cook in the kitchen?
Yes, sir.
Let's see what Chef Gordon has cooking for LBJ. What he's able to whip up. Did you get that? Like Gordon Ramsay?
I like that. I was following.
Gordon Ramsay,
I'm tracking.
Famous chef. Chef Gordon, because it's Oscar Gordon at quarterback. Gains 8 on first down with a handoff to Alexander. Nowhere to go that time. How about another defensive stop from Keegan Addison, as Washington had nowhere to escape.
Jeez, Addison does a good job of shooting that gap, man. You see it. He just, as soon as he sees that ball going to the belly of the running back, he just shoots it and gets that tackle for a loss.
Another third and short on the way. Can the Parish defense stand strong again? LBJ in the shotgun. Handoff to Alexander.
Stop.
Reaches for the line to gain. It depends on where they mark it. And they'll say it's enough for the first down. The second effort and the reach from Alexander enough to move the chains.
And he's a junior, boy, but that is really heady for the running back.
Got it by a foot, if that. Under 10 to play. And that play blown dead before it even got started.
Before the snap, ball start.
False start will back up the Jags 5 yards.
Yeah, they got the tackle or guard, Darrell Small, who is not small by any means. You see that 77 come up and move a little early, they're going to throw that flag.
Great crowd on hand, and they are alive with the drum line beating in the background.
It's Friday night football.
Faithful it is. It sounds like Friday night in Texas. Gordon unloads near side, completes that one to Makumba. Continues forward. The big gain on 1st and 15. Picks up 14.
Yeah, Makumba, I'm really impressed by that, by the sophomore. Speedy, catch the ball on this side, and he splits 2 defenders.
A hot, humid night just north of Dallas.
The injured player is a Jaguar.
And we see
Makumba.
the part of that with Makumba down on the near sideline. 35-32 with 8:49 remaining in this one. Week 2 of the Texas high school football season. Both teams 1-0. Both teams ranked inside the top 5 of their respective divisions. Parish at number 2 in the TAPS Division 1 level. And the Jaguars of LBJ number 5 at 4A Division 1. Big time matchup, and good news to see Makumba up on his feet. And he will have to go to the sideline, at least for one play.
Like you said, a hot and humid night tonight. A lot of guys cramping up out there, so good to see Makumba run off. But
we are into September now, but it still feels like August, to say the least, in the Lone Star State. Back to 2nd and 1 after a gain of 14 on the reception by Makumba. Low snap. Alexander bounces off a defensive lineman, and a good open field tackle by Demery at the 47.
28 Alexander on the run. He's hauled down by 14 Demery. Ball now up to the Jaguar 47-yard line.
8.5 minutes to play. 1st and 10. Jags trying to tie or take the lead. Ball in the flats. There's some extra space, and another hammer laid down far sideline. This is a hard-hitting Parish defense, but a gain of 5.
yeah, gain of 5, and this is a good drive for the Jaguars. They're being taken slow and methodical, taking some precious minutes off of the clock.
Kellen Rogers, the senior, was the one on the reception. Now they have an offset tight end. They'll look to run the ball again. Gordon pulls it. Great read from the quarterback, and he will trot his way out of bounds past the first down marker. And it looks like a late flag after a push out of bounds on the far sideline.
Did not look egregious at all, but they call it, and that's going to be 15 yards.
There will be at least a bit of a conversation. And should there be a personal foul here, it depends on where the hit was, and it also will be at the end of the run.
Yeah, Oscar Gordon a few times has Harry Houdini'd on that spread option run and escaped around the outside or sometimes through the middle, and once he sees that he doesn't have a spy on him.
That brings the ball down to the Panther 23-yard line.
You knew it wasn't going to be easy. You knew the Jaguars were going to be right back in the thick of things as we head down the stretch. Gordon on the read option again. Such balance. Gain of 7.
Yeah, you talk about his balance, and again, it's his vision and understanding the defense of the Panthers. He doesn't always do it because he doesn't want to run. He wants to trust his junior running back in all-day Alexander, but once the opportunity presents itself, he does it so that he can get some positive yardage.
Another pull from Gordon. Plenty of room up the middle. He lays down a shoulder, and he's inside the 10-yard line.
Tough.
Chunk yardage on almost every carry here from the Jags.
Yeah, he's lulled this Panthers defense to sleep with handing the ball off to Faison Washington and Alexander. Now it's Oscar Gordon time.
And boy, can he run the football. Had 360 yards rushing last year as a junior. First and goal from the 6-yard line. Washington to the left, Alexander to the right. Gordon lofts it up to the back of the end zone, and there is some contact, and there is a flag. Aiming again for Makumba, and they're going to get Blackmore for the pass interference.
Yeah, that was close, but I kind of feel the right from Blackmore. He didn't make the contact only until the ball arrived, but they're going to get him anyway, and that's going to be a first down.
Half the distance to the goal, stays first down. And if you're the Panthers defense, you need to either bow up or force a turnover here with 6:40 left in the fourth. Once again, it's Washington and Alexander in the dual backfield. Two receivers to the left of the formation. Gordon hands it to Alexander in the backfield quickly and taken down by Billings. Loss of 2 on first down.
That's a big tackle for Billings and getting that loss. They're going to have to continue to gamble like that to try and put some pressure on this running game and not allow Oscar Gordon to be comfortable with taking it himself.
All right in the middle of the defense. At the one technique. Pressure comes off the edge. They're going to throw it that direction again. Turning around. That one batted down and caught.
He caught that.
He caught that ball, and he had a foot down in the end zone. It's a touchdown for Trent Leary, and the Jaguars, off of the tipped ball, take the lead in the fourth.
That was an amazing throw, but also even better concentration by Leary to come down with that.
Blackmore got a hand on the football. Leary had both feet planted in the red turf, leaning backwards, and somehow gathered it before he hit the turf and hit the ground.
That was picturesque right there, boy.
Unbelievable. 6:02 left, and this is a big point after, by the way, to make it a 4-point lead. They've missed 2 PATs already in the game.
Look at 3.
And it clanks off the upright and does not go through. It remains a field goal advantage. The third missed PAT as the doink off the left upright keeps it 38-35.
Coach Fenner's got to be, blood has got to be boiling right there because he knows he has those easy points. Like, got to get those, man. You got to get those. You practice them every day. Just unfortunate that they can't get those points here in the game.
6 minutes and 2 seconds left on the clock. Plenty of time for Parish. No need to rush things, but you need to put together another methodical drive, in which you've done a couple times here in the second half. And you have found a rhythm, like you said, Heckma, most of it coming underneath the Jaguars on defense.
I'm just going to call it now. Last team with the ball wins.
If that's the case, Parish would not only need to go down and score, but they would need to take some time off the clock as well, not do it very quickly. We've got ourselves a good one here in week 2.
Now, this is important. This kickoff, they've been shanking these, and they've been coming up short. So if Parish can get some positive yardage here on this kickoff, it'll be big for the Panthers.
What was a sloppy game in the first half has turned into an ultra-competitive one in the second. Short kickoff. No fair catch. As it's reeled in by Demery. Switches field. Great block out in front. And now back to the 50-yard line.
There's no way that he can
And there's
call
a flag
hold.
here. It depends on who it's on. If that's on Blake Youngblood, who just had stone-cold advantage in front of his defender, that should not be a hold call.
That was the only thing that was in the line of sight of this referee over here. So
they're going to call offsides on LBJ. And a hold. And they're going to offset. So ultimately, no harm, no foul. It would have been a re-kick or a declined penalty regardless, and they have the ball at the 50-yard line. So nothing to worry about this time, even though that definitely should not have been called a hold.
that shouldn't have been called. Unbelievable.
The only explanation I have is if it's somebody else across the field. But like you said, the spot of where the flag was thrown, you would think it would have been on Blake Youngblood. But we do not have ref mics here, and it looks like they are going to re-kick. Both special teams units back out on the field. You see the Parish return unit taking the field again. So it's really an interesting scenario here. But a re-kick on the way, which could benefit Parish. Alexander, a short line drive kick, and that one is fair caught by Burton. And so instead of starting at the 50, they'll start a total of 14 yards further back at the 36, at 38.
We've had some strange events with the referees. We've had some strange events with the referees tonight, and yeah, that re-kick was just one of them.
So back here to the 38-yard line we go. 5:53 left on the clock following the fair catch. And now Anderson in the shotgun. Ball to his right. Play action.
You got him.
Anderson throws it to Billings, coming back to the football and got it out of bounds enough. The pass rush has been there for LBJ, but Anderson has really done a great job of avoiding it.
Yeah, they get him out and pretty much get him out in space where he's pretty much has the open throwing lanes and does a better job with his vision. But again, you talk about the pressure that's being brought by the Jaguars, and it's been Jaden Rawls, number 33. He's been a usual suspect in that backfield.
Second down after the incompletion. Paul, another heavy run forward for 4.
He'll gain 4 yards. Ball up to the Panther 42-yard.
One of the better games, better matchups that each of these teams will see all season long.
Third down, 7.
And a great test for both sides. Neither team had anywhere close to 200 yards in the first half, but both of which are closing in on 400 total for the game. Third down and 7. Anderson, laser shot over the middle. It's Youngblood. Off to the races, up the far sideline, and up the far hash mark, and it's down to the 20-yard line. Huge game for the senior.
Yeah, that Youngblood, man, he is a matchup nightmare right now, and, man, he just pulled that in. That's a perfect catch by the senior.
Clock counting down to 5 minutes left. And that was one of the bigger plays of the evening so far. It was on 3rd and 7, now in the red zone. High snap, Anderson corrals it, completes it far side. It's Youngblood again, and he is so evasive as a wide receiver. That could break pretty quickly.
Yeah, you let him do his thing, especially with the Jaguars playing off of him so far. They're just respecting his speed.
Billings to the near side of the formation, all the way to the right. Burton in the slot. Youngblood remains up top. It's Paul. Up the middle. Great hole, and it's a first down inside the 10.
The ball run by 2, Andrew Paul. 3 Brown on the stop for the Jaguars. The ball down to the Jaguar 8-yard line.
4:10 left on the clock.
First and goal for the Panthers.
Anderson trying to lead a go-ahead score here in the 4th. Paul shoves his own blocker, and he is taken down at the last second. Great tackle defensively. As Tyrone Jarrells.
Jarrells is holding on for dear life, coming up from the safety position to get that tackle on Andrew Paul.
It was a touchdown-saving tackle.
It sure was, because Andrew Paul, he switched directions once he saw his hole close. But again, great tackle by Jarrells.
This is going to churn off another 40 seconds off of the game clock. Underneath 3.5. Second down and goal from the 5. Billings in at tailback. And instead, it's a big handoff to Addison. Inside the 5. Trying to spin his way back inside, but he only picks up 2. This is the heavy package.
Yeah. And the good thing about this is the clock is continuously ticking.
You still got to score. Of course, you are definitely within field goal range, but if you don't score on this play, what's your thought process? Big decision on the way. Anderson trying to make it not a decision. Neither is Anderson, who dives at the last second, but it's another touchdown-saving tackle, this time from Jabrion Riggins.
Man, this is a big decision right now. Doesn't look like they are putting the field goal unit out, so this is for the ball game.
This could be the game. 2:30 left. 4th down and goal. Addison runs it into the end zone. (41-38) with 2:26 left.
That's the definition of panthering on right now. The Panthers do not have any quit in that drive, and they score the touchdown. Man, hopefully it's enough, and they didn't leave too much time on the clock.
Another big field goal on the way, big PAT. There is no question about this one, and it's a 4-point advantage for the Parish Panthers at home in week 2. 42-38. Once again, the score with 2:26 left. Let's go ahead and head to Jeremy Beadling on the sideline.
Thanks, Kyle. So I was in the defensive huddle on the sidelines during that offensive play. The defensive coordinator noted that LBJ's offensive line has a ton of size up front. So keep in mind, the Parish defensive line, they're going to be doing a lot of stunts, a lot of movement to try to get in the backfield and get after the quarterback on this game-saving drive right here. Let's see if Parish can hold out and keep the W.
2 timeouts left for LBJ. Jeremy Beadling on the sideline doing great work and pointing out that there will be a lot of movement from the defensive line from the Parish Panthers because LBJ up front just has so much size.
Yeah, they do. And that's been the problem, and that's been the reason for that running game, being able to just milk this clock and really just suck all the wind out of this stadium because of that running game. But, man, the Panthers have withstood all of those initial blows to come back and take the lead here in the 4th quarter. So it's a great job and a testament to this young old team doing the business tonight here in Dallas.
Resiliency has been the word of the night for both sides. And what looked to be a defensive struggle in the early parts of this one, it has turned into an offensive explosion in the second half. Now it's up to the defense. We'll see where the Jags will start this drive. A lot of these kicks have gone through the back of the end zone and set up LBJ at the 25. That would be ideal from a special teams perspective, and to avoid a delay of game, Parish forced to call a timeout. It looked like the kicker had to tie his shoe. Had to burn a timeout to do so.
Yeah, Coach Novikov is not going to be happy about that one, but
sponsors for the generous support of the school, its students, and its programs. Marlin Landscaping Systems, Julie Ford, and Dave Perry Miller Real Estate, TD Industries.
What's your message on the sideline here if you are Coach Novikov? and even the defensive coordinator at this point in the ball game, Heckman.
Yeah, Coach Galush has got to just tell his defense, look, whatever they do, it's going to be 4-down territory. They're going to go for it. Right? No matter where they are on the field, they are going to go for it. So make sure you keep these guys in front of you, and every time big number 28 gets the ball, get him down on the ground immediately. Gang tackle together.
Going to be a team effort to keep the Panthers in front. Just over 2.5 minutes, or just under 2.5 minutes remaining. Parish now up over 400 yards total. 300 have come through the air.
God, explosion in the second half.
First career 300-yard game for the young freshman Sawyer Anderson. First of many. Good leg on the kick. Backs up the Jags all the way to the 9-yard line, and he had a knee down as he reeled in.
He fair caught.
Oh, he did. I didn't see the leg.
Yeah,
I didn't see the arm.
Yeah, he fair
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I thought
everybody
his knee had touched the ground and that it was going to start at the 9-yard line.
Yeah, everybody would have been celebrating with you on that, but he did. Unfortunately, he
smart play.
Waved a fair catch.
Like I said a moment ago, 25-yard line working 75 yards to score. Ideal for the Parish defense. Still a long way to go with just 2:26 left.
Well, the one thing about Oscar Gordon, he has been poised in the pocket.
Senior has been in moments like this already. Low snap, picks it up. Nothing going on first down.
That's what you need from your group, getting stops like that. You've got to put it on your defense to win this game.
A reminder, if you look at the scoreboard, LBJ needs 6. They cannot rely on a field goal, even if they wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think they have the capacity to get a field goal.
They've missed 3 PATs tonight.
There's
Gordon
Oscar.
has a blocker in front as well. Out to the 45-yard line, almost gets to the 50, but he is slung down right at the midfield logo, and a huge gain on 2nd and 10. Stops the clock momentarily at 1:38, but it's a first down into Parish territory.
Yeah, he's just getting out on that trap block and pulling it out himself to get positive yardage.
Defense going to have to stand big. Clock running underneath, 90 seconds to play. Throw far side, it's completed. Off to the races again is Leary. He has come up in some big-time scenarios tonight. Late game situations. LBJ on the drive. Clock starts again, 1:15 to play. Gordon, play action, throw over the middle, lots of contact, and a flag will fly in from both directions. Just too much contact that time from Blackmore.
For Blackmore, I'm trying to decide because, look, if he doesn't commit that penalty, that's a touchdown.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather him do that, obviously, and it's not a spot foul like it is in the NFL, so that's a smart thing to do.
Yeah, 15 yards from the line of scrimmage. It does stop the clock with 1:05 left.
Against the Panthers. That'll put the ball down to
And now things get very nerve-wracking for this Panthers defense. Leading by 4. Who steps up and makes a play? 3 wideouts for the Jaguars. 1 tailback, it's Alexander. Gordon keeps it. Straight up the gut. He is met quickly. Almost dropped the football, but he does hang on to it. And it's only a gain of 3. And a timeout called with 57 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, I believe Gordon lost his hat, so he's going to be out for a play.
And that could be significant.
Second down, 10.
And they're going to call a timeout here to keep the clock stopped, and that allows Gordon to come back in the ballgame. No surprise there. That's pretty much a no-brainer situation.
Well,
Don't
absolutely.
let the clock run.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get your quarterback back in there. 57 ticks left.
The ball is at the 10-yard line. Definitely for the Panthers, look, they just got to be thinking about not allowing a score. Again, it's 4-down territory in here, and if they pick up a first down, it's going to allow them to even eat up more clock. So,
sound assignments. Keep your eyes in front of you.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Can't get turned around.
Stay in your lane.
And if the ball comes your way, make a play.
That is coach's speak if I ever heard it.
I'm not even a coach. 42-38. 2nd and 7. They can pick up the first by reaching the 5. Gordon to throw. Has someone in his face. Looks over the middle. That one's batted down. Fantastic play from Blackmore to save a touchdown.
Oh, absolutely. And they've been picking on Blackmore. But that's a good play.
3rd down and 6 now.
Unfortunately, the clock stops there.
Only 5 seconds ticked off. The Panther faithful getting on their feet. The sideline joining in as well. Third down. And Coach Finner will have an opportunity to talk it over as the Panthers call a timeout on defense. Same assignments, same check boxes apply. But what is the message on the sideline, Heckma?
Just play alignment assignment. Yeah, you know these guys are good. You got seniors and juniors up front. Jalen Hall has been able to get some pressure. Ian Ussery. Guys like that, you need them to try and fill those gaps in to get a stop, because the one thing that LBJ wants to do is put this ball game on the legs of Oscar Gordon and Cedric Alexander. Excuse me.
You would expect a couple of runs here. Of course, it is 4-down territory. No chance for a field goal. Each team with 1 timeout left. Keep that in mind. Panthers, at least to this point, have made the stops when they needed to. And then had the big-time drives as well to earn this 4-point lead.
Well, it's a big down, 3rd and 6. Panthers need to stop.
Once again, the first down marker set just inside the 5-yard line. Alexander the lone back. It's Gordon. Going to look that way again. Inside the end zone, off the hands, incomplete. Clock stopped at 47 seconds, and the ball game on the line with 4th and 6 upcoming.
Man, I tell you, this is a pressure cooker kind of situation right here. But if you're going to put it on someone, you want to rely heavily on your defense. And so if you want to test your mettle, see where your guys are, this is it right here.
4th down. 6 to go. Panthers leading by 4, 42-38. In a top 5 battle at Gloria H. Snyder Stadium. Gordon again to throw it to the end zone. Has a man. It's caught into the end zone. Touchdown, Jaguars. Makumba, the sophomore, comes up big with 41 ticks left.
The pass complete to number 2, Fatu Makumba.
That's backbreaking right there, boy. But they had the perfect call on, and Oscar Gordon finds his receiver on the fade route and far on the near side.
What a time for your first varsity touchdown for the sophomore. And it puts LBJ up by 2. Parish has 1 timeout remaining and 41 seconds left. Now, LBJ needs this PAT to make it a field goal advantage. Especially with special teams, it has not been given that the Panthers start, and it's blocked. 2-point lead. Panthers can still win it with a field goal. That is big.
And your kickoff. So think about the troubles that they've been having just kicking the ball off. So no fair catch is called, and you can get this into Jaguar territory. If you're the Panthers, that's all you need to do is get this in Jaguar territory. 41 seconds left, a timeout. This is easy work.
I don't know if anything is easy at this point in the ball game, but it is definitely doable for sure. And how about putting the pressure on the shoulders of your freshman quarterback and your senior weapons like Andrew Paul, Blake Youngblood, Noah Billings, Trey Williams and company to try and win this game in the waning seconds. 41.4 on the clock. A very important kickoff on the way from Alexander and the Jaguars special teams unit. LBJ answering the bell with a touchdown throw to silence the crowd on 4th down and 6 to take a 2-point lead. Alexander gets good leg on this one, probably the best kick of the night. And it backs up Billings all the way to his own 15-yard line. He works to the 31. And Anderson and the Panthers offense will have 35 seconds to win the ball game.
Well, they lost their big play receiver, Nathaniel Hill, the 6'3", 205-pound Navy commit,
who was expected to be back in the ball game in the second half, but we have not seen him. Instead, it's really been Billings that has filled that role. Got to find a hero here. Who will it be?
Number 1.
Anderson, near side. Billings has plenty of space, but the throw off the mark. Just a couple seconds tick off, and it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, again, just passes like that, I believe, are in the wheelhouse for Sawyer Anderson to make, and those are safe throws for him because he's going to put him in position only where his receivers can get him.
The understanding of an offense is something that freshmen miss out on a lot. He does not miss out on it, and there is a miscommunication here. Billings just nowhere in the vicinity, and it's 3rd and 10, another 4 seconds off the clock. This is a big-time learning moment for the Panthers offense and a young quarterback.
Yeah, wrong time to not be on the same page.
And you can see the Jaguars playing well off the line of scrimmage. I mean, they are giving the underneath ball on a couple of occasions, at least early in this drive. 3 receivers to the top of the formation. Anderson again, now under pressure, has to roll out left. Sets his feet. There is a flag. It is intercepted. The penalty will be declined, and the Parish Panthers are going to fall in the home opener.
Pass intercepted by number 4, Javion Riggins.
Riggins, the senior, closes it out and puts this one on ice as the ball was just overthrown by Anderson trying to make a play again.
Yeah, trying to make something happen, but again, it's just from the second down. Not able to convert and get that first down. It just seemed like the freshman was pressing, and unfortunately, we get a turnover. That's tough.
It's football. Just when you fight and you claw and you work your way back from a slow start, just a couple of big-time plays don't go your way, and credit to the Jaguars. They executed when they needed to. And one snap and one kneel down will do it, as LBJ will come from Austin up I-35 and steal a win from Parish on the road. and improved to 2-0 on their season. They've got a tough one next week on their own right as they take on the La Vega Pirates, a 4A Division I power out of Waco. But they pass this test on the road, and the Parish Panthers will fall to 1-1 before traveling to Malakoff next weekend. 44-42, the final score from Snyder Stadium.
Yeah, this is a good game. I mean, you had a lot of narratives here and just complete back and forth. But I tell you what, man, for Sawyer Anderson, nothing to hang his head about, because in the second half he came out and he was slinging it around. It's just in that last drive, man, he misread it and obviously threw it into coverage and had the turnover. But all things being considered equal, man, this Panthers team, they look really good, look good on the ground. If it were not for the turnovers, they were smack dab in this game from the beginning and just not able to overcome some of those errors, Kyle.
300 yards passing for Sawyer Anderson, his first 300-yard game of his young career. And just comes up a couple shy. LBJ does end up outgaining Parish, 422 to 418. Both teams up over 400 yards, which is something to say. A lot of the mistakes in the first half they fixed. Now you've got more to fix heading into next week.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and again, it's all going to start for Coach Novikov with the turnovers. He's going to talk about that all day long, because you can't commit that many turnovers and expect to win a game. But again, for the Jaguars, it's just a tough squad, man. They are going to be problems for a lot of teams in the 4A division. Keep your eyes on them. And Oscar Gordon, man, Oscar Gordon did a really good job of just getting these guys back into this game. And so, man, just a great game. The Jaguars pull it out, but the Panthers have nothing to hang their head about. They'll come right back next week.
Yeah, a powerful 273 yards on the ground for the Jaguars. Andrew Paul for Parish, 28 carries, 125, and 2 touchdowns, as he was magnificent, minus a couple fumbles here and there. But lots of learning going on, even at this very moment, for Coach Novikov and a young Parish Panthers team. This is non-district. They turn around, have one more non-district tune-up, and then they get into TAPS play for the 2021 campaign, which should be a lot of fun as the Panthers currently keep their search for 3 straight state titles in front of them. Once again, our final score here from Snyder Stadium, the LBJ Jaguars 44 and the Parish Panthers 42. Special thanks to everybody a part of this Game On Sports broadcast. For Jeremy Beedling down on the sideline, for my partner, Heckma Harrison, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying God bless and good night.